Welcome everyone. Welcome to ThursdAI. My name is Alex Volkov. I'm an AI evangelist with Weights and Biases. Today is March 26th, and this is our third show of this March. We are live everywhere. We're live on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, I think also. And welcome everyone. Please say hi in the comments and tell us what's new that's exciting in the world of AI for you. As always, for the past 3 years, we are going to cover everything that happened in the world of AI, and we have tons of breaking news just from this morning already. So I'm very, very excited to tell you what's all of that is about. Meanwhile, I'll add my co-hosts here. Welcome, LDJ. Welcome, Wolf from Ravenwolf. What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Great. How are you, Alex?
I'm doing well. Much more energy than the last show, if you can tell.
Which was a nice show, a more conversational way.
Yes. For folks who have no idea what we're talking about and haven't tuned in usually, last year I was sick, and we went very low energy because of that. And I even got texts from friends like Swix, shout out, making sure I'm okay because the show was very low energy as far as I was concerned. Like, bro, are you good? Not your usual energy, but not today. Today there's so many things to talk about. Let me add Yam Peleg here. What's up, Yam? How you guys doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm very excited to.
Sound is okay?
Yeah. Sound is decent. I think we'll see. We'll talk more. LDJ, I kind of cut you off. Sorry, dude. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, no problem. Doing great. Again, some cool releases and yeah, we'll talk about them.
Yeah, there's tons to talk about, and also I will say we're still streaming on Twitter Spaces. So welcome to Twitter Spaces, folks. However, there's going to be a lot of demos and shows and TTS releases, and so we will demo them and we'll play around with them. And if you want to see and hear all that, you'll probably hear this actually on the Twitter Space. But if you want to see all that, you'll definitely want to jump on our live stream. So with that, I will just say, everybody who's watching, I see Milos, I see Brady, I see Pent, I see like a bunch of folks. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't show me names. I see a bunch of folks in the Twitter Spaces. Thank you for joining. Welcome to our ThursdAI community. We've been doing this for a while. It's so good to see the same folks coming in and kind of learning together. As always, if breaking news happen, we would love to hear from you in comments. We'd love to hear from you in comments anyway regarding everything that we're talking about. But if breaking news are coming, usually the community just sends us a link and we're acting on this. I will also say today we have a special guest, Daniel Han Chen from Unsloth is going to join us. A great dude. Unsloth is, well, he's going to tell you about Unsloth. But last week we told you about Unsloth Studio, this open source studio for fine tuning and the inference. And then he's going to tell us all about this. But also this week, and we should probably get into the updates because there's a lot of updates. Also this week, there is a potential breakthrough in how in how LLM is getting inferenced with KV Cache. We're going to talk about TurboQuant, and we're going to talk about why it's so exciting a year after they released the paper on archive, and just now everybody's picking this up, and why this is crashing, like Samsung stock and Muon stock and like a bunch of other stocks. Supermicro, I think, crashed. So we're going to talk about this. Going to be very interesting, because yeah, there's a lot to talk about this week. I will basically just run around the room and ask you guys what has changed. You know what? I'm going to have a different question, not the one cool release from AI, which we can also cover. I want to ask you, and also folks in the audience who are listening to us, what has changed for you in the last week in the way you work? What is the one update that people may need to talk about? Yam, you talked about Pi, and you're running a bunch of Pi agents. Yam, folks, you should follow Yam on Twitter. He posted a picture of his like huge screen with like 17 different sub agents running all at the same time. Very Matrix-like. If you guys remember the Matrix, that's how Yam now sees the world, via agents doing stuff for him. Yam, what has changed in the past week? What did you find out that's working, that's not working? Briefly, if you can, but I would love to hear.
Look, I must say that I'm starting to suspect that small models are very much already at at the point where they are worth investing and using on your own locally. It wasn't the case. Look, I'm the most enthusiastic person about open source models in the world.
Next to me.
Next to you. I'm just saying that realistically, until we got Quen, the mid-size one that you can run, I don't remember. I'll tell you actually. The 27B Quen, the Quen model, it wasn't. You couldn't actually use a local affordable model for day-to-day work as an agent. But now I start to see people fine-tuning Quen and making it better and making it customizable. And someone hold me from trying this myself, please, because that's a very deep rabbit hole, and I might fall into that and never come out.
Never
Okay,
come out.
But yeah, I think that's something that is starting to absolutely change right now. Like in the last
you have to
couple of
come
days.
out at least for Thursdays, so you have a forcing function to come out. But I hear you, yeah, local models, definitely. Wolfram, what has changed in your workflow this week since last week?
Over the weekend, I replaced OpenClaw with Hermes Agent and built a Home Assistant plugin, an add-on, so I can run it on there. And I'm experimenting with it. So I'm not sure if it's permanent replacement. If I run both, probably do that.
Yeah.
But the instability of OpenClaw was annoying. And I set up the memory add-on.
Spicy.
Yeah, it's a QMD memory add-on, which is an officially experimental plugin. Set it up, and it has so many bugs and flaws, and I wonder how many people are actually using it really, because if you just follow it and enable it, it's not even working the way it should. And Lossless Claw was very cool. Also tried that, but in the end, I wanted to try Hermes Agent, and that was when I switched over, and I'm using it as my main right now. It's different, it feels good, and I will post more about this, and I will publish my Home Assistant add-on so others can use it as soon as I get time to do this. It was a weekend project. And basically, I like it very much and want to do more with this.
So Hermes from our friends at News Research, which is been blowing up. I think it's the second after OpenClaw on Open Router in usage. Distant second, but definitely the second. So we talked about Hermes. We didn't cover this fully. Yam, go ahead.
I got so many questions now. I mean, that's a really I don't know. That should be that should be a part of the show. I must say that, like, I have so many questions to ask you now about, like, what do you think? Why do you think it's better? What is better? And
let's
make a whole episode about this.
Yeah, we can definitely talk for hours just about our Claw instances. I will just say, just kind of want to move on. I know that folks are coming in here to know about kind of the news. I definitely want to talk about this. I want to talk about Hermes. I want to talk about Wolfram Experience. I have installed Hermes as well. It surprised me at some point, very much so. So I definitely want to cover this. Hopefully, we'll have time at the later down the show. But yeah, you guys can also have an open conversation about this on Twitter. Everybody's going to follow. LDJ, what has changed in your usage of AI in the past week? What is new? What are you using? What do you find out that's working, not working?
Yeah, mainly using Codex. I'm really loving the new sub-agents feature that they revealed, which it should have come a while ago, but it's great that it's come now. And been using that, and been considering, though, using something more like Hermes agent or something that's more model agnostic, due to the fact that I've been thinking a lot more about the collective intelligence of the different types of models and them working together and how important that might end up being, and leaning more towards that maybe in the future.
Somebody posted in a private chat that after hours should be a thing for ThursdAI. I'm not against it, folks. I just need to run through the show so everybody's going to be caught up with everything that happened in AI. Afterwards, we can talk about it as much as possible, as long as we're not forcing me to record this and post this and edit. Okay, I can tell you about my updates from the last week. There aren't any. I'm using the same model. No, I will say, okay, I have started using Voxtrol from Mistral for all my transcription needs. It's faster, significantly faster across everything. I've been using this for a while. I'm just happy to follow everything. I have tried I've stopped using Paperclip. You guys remember 2 weeks ago, data from the open source, very public open source Paperclip has shown up on the show. Paperclip is this kind of agent orchestrator. I can also probably say, my fiance does a lot of her stuff for actual work, and she has like 2 open claws running, and she turned on Paperclip again. So she's now actually got to a point where she needs to coordinate her agents and start Paperclip. So Paperclip is definitely kind of still around. Yeah, but I think it's time for us to maybe run through the TLDR because there's a bunch of stuff there. And I think I have one more item finishing up cooking, and I think we are good. Yes. I will just tell you guys that we also have a guest on the show today. Daniel Hunt from Unsloth is going to join us in around 20 minutes to talk about this insane TurboQuant thing, plus Unsloth Studio, plus a bunch of stuff. Daniel Hunt is one of the top folks in fine-tuning. Very, very excited to have him on the show today. And also, I see a few comments, so let's run through the comments. Folks are saying Claude channels, which is a new way to talk to Claude. I don't know if folks are noticing, but the Claude Codex team, the Claude Code team, confusing. No such thing as Claude Codex, Alex. The Claude Code team is releasing feature after feature. Channels is a way to talk to your Claude Code from your Telegram. I think there's plugins. I saw somebody post iMessage. So basically, just talk to it from everywhere, not from only the Claude app. Cloud Computer. Milos is saying Cloud Computer. Cloud launched computer use. And now Cloud can actually like click the things and buttons on your computer. I tried it. It's super slow, for me at least. What else, folks? Folks in comments. Nobody in Twitter commented. I want to hear what is changed for you in this week since last week. What is the new AI thing that you picked up? What is the new workflow? Everybody wants to know. I will say this as simply as I can, folks. Everybody, and this is why we're here every week, is trying to catch up. There's a shit ton of news every week. There's shit ton of features. If you only use Claude Code and you follow Claude Code religiously and not looking to what Codex is doing, what Cursor is doing. If you only follow Claude Code, it's impossible to keep up. They have like 7 releases last week, including one bad one where people's quotas were ending after 3 questions. We're going to talk about this as well. No response from Anthropic, as always. Anthropic seemed to not acknowledge that ThursdAI exists. But definitely there was an issue. But if you follow only them, there's like 7 releases. So Cloud Computer, Cloud Remote, Cloud Channels, like a bunch of stuff. Oh, yeah, new thing. OpenClaw added, by the way, I love this. If you guys are using OpenClaw and you send it on like a long list of tasks and it executes a bunch of, third-party APIs, etc., and you want to just ask it the question, you hit /btw, by the way. This is also a feature in Cloud Code. I think that's where it originated. And they will spin up kind of a sub conversation just for this, and we'll answer it without tool calls. And that's going to be super, super fast as well. So basically, you can if you forgot something or you want to follow up while you wait for the things to execute, /btw is a new thing that I definitely started using this week all the time. For example, when you're not sure if OpenClaw still replies to you, BTW is a great way to check that OpenClaw is still alive while it goes and does some stuff. All right.
That's like ADHD automated. That's like just.
It's such a genius feature, bro. It's such a genius feature.
It's insane how much are we all cooked. Like the attention of everyone is so cooked that you need to have a specific feature just for you to write down the things that just come up because you need to wait for too long. And everyone is using it. It's insane when you think about it.
100%. The world we live in right now is definitely not the world we lived in a year ago. Everybody has 24/7 agents running in the background doing some stuff. Folks who don't should and will soon. All right, folks, I think it's time for...
So many questions for you about Paperclip. Like you're saying, I got 24/7 agents. I'm like, man, how are you using this? It's so interesting. I didn't find a specific use for it. Can you tell me?
We should do... So I don't use Paperclip, right? And my agents, I have like a host of agents doing a bunch of research stuff. So I have like Ambience proactive agents, for example, OpenAI the ping thing, I forgot what its name. Pulse. OpenAI Pulse shows me news sometimes. I have Pulsea is still running. If you guys remember Pulsea, nothing happened for Pulsea besides the fact that a guest on ThursdAI may appear, because Pulsea went on the whole thing and emailed like a bunch of people in my name to try to invite them to the show without my permission. It's really funny. I have Utori running, and Scouts from Utori is great. We talked about Scouts a while ago. They scour the web and bring you news. So I have like a bunch of those like ambient ones set up. I have a bunch of PR bots. So, Devin, love Devin. They gave me like $500 to test. So shout out to Devin, folks. Devin is incredible. Every pull request that I have on GitHub is getting automatically checked by multiple agents, by Devin and by Codex and by this and by that. So like there's all these like 24/7 agents, right? They're not, I wouldn't call them, maybe it's worth talking about. I don't know. But I wouldn't call them, I ask you to do something, you're executing the work for me, I need to review the work agents. They're not like mission agents. They're ambient, behind the scenes, narrow task agents. They run 24/7, and that's great. So I have a bunch of those. Agents that build things for me, I need still to feel like I'm in control. I tried with OpenClaw. I tried to have it, hey, build yourself a task list. Go execute this task list. Every minute, it does not work. I woke up every day to a new ThursdAI website, for example. It just does not work for me. So,
Okay, I can talk about this for long.
For ages.
Why
okay.
Doesn't do? Yeah, but
give me one comment, Yam, and then we're gonna jump.
Yeah, look, the reason it doesn't work is very, very simple. Agents just add a bunch of things that you didn't ask for to the code all the time. It's just an artifact. You see it in the way they write code, like they, I don't know, guard themselves against impossible situations that could never happen. They have error checkings for errors that simply doesn't make sense to this in this specific location, and it makes sense, and it makes a lot of sense why it happened, why they learned it throughout their training. But the thing is that those things pile up. Each one of the things that they change in the code works, but they pile up, and the entire code is getting filled with things that just should not be there. And it gets into the context, and over time it just gets harder and harder for the agents to work and build stuff on their own. That's kind of my theory of what is going on at the moment, and why it's hard.
A beautiful visualization of this, but meanwhile, I bring this visualization. I want to show you Mario Zechner's, who is going to be a guest on the show. Mario Zechner's post called "Slowing the Fuck Down," and this talks exactly about this. Now, folks, there's why is it so white? Okay, there's a few thoughts about this, right? One of them is, hey, before agentic engineering, people was like, hey, speed up, multiple agents, etc. There's folks who went through the curve and now coming back out and saying, hey, let's slow down. Let's slow. This doesn't help. Here's the visualization, Yam. I want to show this. Exactly what you're talking about. This is now, some of the folks are getting to the point where this is what they are they're thinking. This is exactly the flow. It runs. Stuff that the code base is slop, some of the stuff is good, and you're like, okay, this looks good. And then this code base with some pieces of slop goes back to the agent, and then the agent adds a little bit more, and a little bit more. And this creates kind of an unstable code base at the end with a bunch of bugs that is hard to catch, etc. So this is a great visualization to just keep in mind. And this is why I cannot run engine 24/7 for myself. And then I have a bunch of like throwaway code. I'm just gonna keep this running. It's chill. The music is chill. I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but for me it works.
That's perfect. That's a perfect visualization. That's
right.
Exactly
this is great.
This is exactly what is going on. Seriously, that's perfect.
So we will welcome Nistin to the show, and we'll jump into TLDR after Nistin answers this one question. What has changed in your workflow for the past week? What are you using now that you haven't used a week ago? What is one realization that you came up from this? Please briefly, if possible, Nistin, but please tell us.
Yeah, it's all in voice input. So I really like the Parakeet voice intention detection model from NVIDIA. It's a tiny 0.16B. And while you run Whisper, you run that as well. And then you don't need to hit a button again for it to understand that you're done talking and continue on. Honestly, like the less buttons you have from talking to the thing is better. And the other thing was for Whisper I didn't realize, even though I've used it for so long, that you can add in all your keywords like Claude or Quen, which Whisper is not going to get correctly, and then it gets them correctly. And I was surprised 2 of those things just really changed the workflow with Claude Code so much that now the moment one of those breaks, I cannot do anything. I need to go back to it. So
the Claude Code supports voice input natively, right?
Yeah. But it's not the same as, because with NVIDIA, it does voice detection too. So you can just like walk around the room, do stuff, and then you can just talk. It's the friction in voice is actually kind of insane. So I just noticed a big difference into how much work I was getting done just from like few little tweaks here.
Alex, we need a spin-off here. Like I can
You
run
can-
this
it's
for
hard,
hours.
yeah,
I
it's hard,
have voice
yes.
to voice. I have full duplex voice to voice, like already set up locally on NVIDIA, and I really want to tell you guys, but
After hours. Yeah.
After hours.
Okay, you guys are welcome to run an after-hour show after this. Absolutely welcome. I just like, I know for a fact that also news is all important. This is a news show. I think that folks like our conversations. Folks, please comment if you like this type of like banter that we have to talk about how we work. Please comment below. Jan would love to like learn. We want to welcome Daniel to the stage. Daniel, welcome. How you doing, man?
Hello.
I think this is your second appearance on ThursdAI. I think the first one is we caught you in the halls of AI engineer at some point to just like shove the mic in your face to talk to you about.
Yes. Oh, yes, that one.
You remember
Yes.
that? Yeah, that's great.
And then the battery died, I think. Yes.
Daniel, just one thing. If you can point the camera just a little bit downwards so we can see your whole face, that'll be great. We're going to start with the show and then we're going to come and actually do the full interview video. But folks should definitely follow Daniel Han Chen on Twitter as he joins us to talk about incredible things, including training and fine-tuning models. And now what we do often at the start of the show, and many people wait for, is the TLDR, which is basically everything that happened in the world of AI in a very, very brief thing. Folks, I'm going to run through it really quick this time. Please, let's try to contain the side quest to a minimum because I think the folks are waiting for this, and there's quite a lot as well. So I think we'll start with the TLDR and then we'll jump into a conversation. We'll start with open source this time because there's just like a lot of stuff happening in the world of open source. A lot of stuff happening in the world of voice as well. There's one thing that I'm missing for some reason, but I know, so I will bring it up. All right, folks, let's go to TLDR. I should, yeah, okay. I think this works. Okay. All right, welcome to the TLDR of March 26, folks. My name is, give me 1 second, please. What's going on? We will fix this. Just technical issues. Music, transitions, and there we go. Yes. All right. Welcome to the TLDR of ThursdAI for March 26th. My name is Alex Volkov. I'm an AI evangelist with weights and biases. With me, co-host Wolfram Ravenwolf, Jan Peleg, Nistan Tahira, LJ confirmed, and our guest of honor for today's show and guest co-host, I would say, because Daniel, you're welcome to chill with us. Daniel Han from Unsloth. We're gonna start with big companies and APIs and LLMs. There's a lot of stuff that happened in that world, and I think the earliest one from this week was Claude can now control your Mac. Claude Code and folks have been releasing incredible amount of updates, so we're not going to cover all of them, but this one's very exciting because they've been talking about computer use for a long time and how good Claude is computer use. Now Claude actually can be a computer use. You can turn on the feature in the settings and it will like click buttons on your computer. Paired with Claude channels and Claude remote, you can also run this from far away. Yes, this is kind of what OpenClaw does for many people. So Claude has been stealing a few features from that. We're also going to talk about the fact that for the past maybe a few days, Claude Code users have been blowing through their weekly usage quotas by just asking 2 questions. This is an insane thing that Anthropic hasn't yet acknowledged, but absolutely insane thing. There's reports on Reddit of folks saying, hey, and then half of their quota for that week is gone. we should tell you about this because you should look in whether or not this is your experience as well. I think there's a fix out for this today for Fox reporting, but I'm not sure. Definitely worth noting. One huge big news from OpenAI. We told you last week that OpenAI is refocusing their efforts and cutting down on side quests. OpenAI now fully discontinued the SORA app, the SORA API, and the SORA ChatGPT video features. And the $1 billion deal with Disney that we told you about is also gonna go to an end. This is quite a big news. SORA at some point has been the number one downloaded app. The first was the first app to reach like 1 million people, and then 100 million people. It was incredible. Yours truly tried to be an influencer in SORA. Honestly, I thought that's going to be there forever. We should talk about why OpenAI sunsetted such a feature. And also in kind of big news launches in big companies, ArcAGI-3 is finally public and launched. ArcAGI is this challenge benchmark gamification thing to test whether or not AGI is here. They've been moving the goalposts for 3 times now. This is the 3rd iteration of moving the goalposts. We like them. Greg is a great friend of the pod. Hopefully he'll join on the pod. But ArcAGI, the 3rd one launches, and it's incredible. The humans get 100% of task delivery on this. If you play those games, you'll be able to figure it out. All of the frontier labs right now get under 1%. I love benchmarks like this. The more benchmarks like this exist, the better. So we're going to talk about ArcAGI. Maybe we'll show and play a game together and see if we can figure this out. Folks, in open source, the hugest news from this week, the news that tanks the stock market. We should mention why as well. Google Research released something called TurboQuant. It's an optimization for LLMs for KV cache specifically that compresses by 6 times, including an 8x speed up with almost 0 accuracy loss. We're going to talk about why this is, what this is. We're going to talk about whether or not this is overhyped. Definitely, I think the stock crash is undeserved. But if you have heard about the TurboQuant and you don't know what this is, stick around with us because we have some experts to talk to you about this. LDJ specifically told me not to overhype this, so I will be cautious. But yeah, we'll talk about TurboQuant. I think it's huge news. And also, we have Unsloth Studio, 10x faster inference on Studio. Daniel Han is with us here to talk about Unsloth and how this improves open source LLMs. I think there's also Reka released some open source models. I don't have this in the show notes, but we should definitely mention the Reka release in there on Hugging Face. We should talk about this. In our corner that's called Tools and Agentic Engineering, because this is the world we live in now, the tools and agentic engineering is everywhere. Cursor released Composer 2 tech report. There's a whole drama with the Composer 2 model from last week that we've told you about, where apparently, and we told you this on the show, they haven't pre-trained it from scratch. They probably continued fine-tuning NRL that model, but it wasn't clear. Apparently somebody found out that it was Minimax, and so people accused Cursor for kind of like stealing open source glow. I don't think that this is the case. Basically, Cursor came out and said, hey, yes, we kind of continued pre-training an existing model, and then it was all legit, by the way. And so we're going to talk to you about this because they released, Kimi K2, sorry, not Minimax. It was Kimi K2. And Cursor Composer basically released a tech report, a full-blown tech report of how they did this, full of nuggets. It's going to be super cool. Modular, if you guys remember Modular, the company by Chris Latner that released Mojo, this kind of like a Python equivalent for LLMs, they released a model. They released kind of optimization kernels for Flux 2, the image generation model from Black Foundation Labs that runs Flux 2 in under 300 milliseconds. My notes here say under sub-second because they released sub-second and then they improved it again under 300 milliseconds. 99% cheaper than Nano Banana, which is quite crazy. We're going to talk about Modular as well. There was a huge, this is less AI news, but because it's in an AI package, I want to bring this to you. There was a huge supply chain attack in Light LLM Python package, and SSH keys and cloud credentials were exfiltrated. Just something to note and know that this is going to probably happen more. And as we talk about agentic engineering, when your agents are installed packages, this is like scarier as well. So definitely we should talk about this. In this week's Buzz, I just going to mention we have an iOS app that you should absolutely download for weights and biases. And in 2 weeks, we're going to be in AI Engineer Europe, the first inaugural Europe AI Engineer. Me and Wolfram are going to do a live show from there. So we're, weights and biases is going to be in Europe as well. The biggest New segment from this week is definitely going to be voice and audio, folks. I'm going to even hit the breaking news button because it's that big. 3 releases of the 5 releases here happened just last hour. AI breaking news coming at you only on ThursdAI. Not often do I get to do AI breaking news in the middle of the TLDR, but this is the way of things. Mistral drops Voxtral TTS, a 3 billion parameter open weight text-to-speech model they claim beats 11 Labs Flash in human tests. It's also available on Mistral themselves. This happens 3 minutes after Cohere launches Transcribe, an open source 2 billion parameter ASR model. So ASR is automatic speech recognition. TTS is text to speech, right? So both ends of a agentic kind of like voice agent. So Cohere, we know, is great for multilingual. Cohere launches Transcribe, basically a Whisper competitor. It's just a 2 billion parameter. Whisper itself is around 2 billion parameter large. They claim 5.4 word error rate. We're going to test it out. Google launches 2 things. One, not from today, from yesterday. Google launches Lyria 3 Pro. This is their music engine that is able to generate full 3-minute music tracks with structural control. Google also launched, and I have this here in my notes, for some reason it didn't jump. Google also launched Gemini 3.1 Flash Live. Gemini 3.1 Flash Live. Let me just bring this here. This is a quite an insane upgrade from Google. This is if you want to run agents live end-to-end without building kind of the TTS in the beginning and then the LLM, this is one model that does all of it. They also say that this is for real-time voice agent and vision agent. So we definitely should check it out. I think AI Studio already has it and in the API as well. There's a new Japanese TTS called Irodori TTS with 500 million parameters with emotion control. I love this. You can just like paste emojis of how you want it to speak and it's gonna like do emotion control. And another one from Tencent called Kovo Audio, full duplex voice control with 99% third taking improvement. So a lot of news in voice. Hopefully we could be able to test some of them out. Also, a few news in AI art and diffusion. Luma Labs did video before and did 3D stuff. We talked about their stuff a bunch. Uni-1 is their new diffusion AI art kind of like product. It's kind of weird. It's thinks and generates pixels simultaneously. It's an AI model that's also a diffusion model. And they have a canvas. And they apparently, like, folks prefer it this way. So it's not like you just send some prompt and it generates an image. It's very interesting. We're going to show you. For some reason, when I like folks are liking these examples. When I posted my pictures there, it gave me some moles on my face. So I don't know why. And then Modeler Flux 2 is a sub-second generation. I think I mentioned this before. I know this has been a whirlwind, folks, bringing you back on stage. Is there any huge release that I did not mention here yet?
Oh, what do you mean? We got the news from the master of the chips. Jensen just said this week,
What?
like Jensen wait.
Yes.
Jensen just
Yes.
wait. That's a moment. Jensen just went. AGI has been achieved internally.
Yes, we should definitely mention this. Jensen, the Inference King, crowned the Inference King by a semi-analysis this week, went on Lex Friedman podcast, a great podcast, by the way. The highlight of the show probably is when Lex asked him, hey, in the very broad definition of AGI, which means an AI that runs a company for over $1 billion, what's your time frame for this, Jensen? Is this 5 years into the future, 20 years? Jensen's like, nah, we have it today. We probably have it today. So he probably knows. Yep. So, you know, for that definition of AGI, we have a person from that world that says AGI is here. Would love to hear from the community as well about some of the stuff of what is happened and what we didn't cover in the TLDR. But for now, let's go into open source because this is what we're here for. Let's go to open source. Open source AI, let's get it started. Started in open source. I think we can start with the small things. Reka's Edge This is a 7 billion multimodal vision language model. We talked to you about Reka for a while, and we've tested their multimodal stuff. They're great. We're not going to be able to test and run through this, but they're definitely noteworthy. If you're running any kind of multimodal stuff, definitely worth it. Maybe worth showing one thing. They're also claiming sub-second latency for showstopper and video understanding benchmarks. We tested video understanding. Don't have time, unfortunately, today, but ArcAGI is definitely noteworthy. I think two things I want to cover, and we have Daniel here from Onslaught to talk about this. I want to cover the both TurboQuant, and I want to cover Onslaught Studio that we mentioned last week, that launched last week during GTC, right, Daniel? You were there. So
Yes.
how about, first of all, this is your first time on the show. Please also camera down, dude. I can't have your face cut in the podcast. Please, it's very important for me, if possible. Yeah. So would love to. First of all, please introduce yourself to the audience. Your first time or second time here. What does Onslaught do? And then let's talk about Studio that you launched. It's very exciting for me.
Yeah. Well, hello everyone again. Yeah, I'm Daniel from Onslaught. For folks who don't know us, we fix bugs in models. We also have a fine-tuning and reinforcement learning package. And so we have this on GitHub. So it's all open source work. So we tweet a lot as well.
Yes.
So definitely check us out on Twitter. Always love the pod as well. But yeah, excited to be here. But yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about, anything. And if anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to take that as well. But yeah, we launched Studio during GTC week. So we launched this with, so NVIDIA was kind of like our launch partner as well. And yeah, it was very fun to launch it. To be honest, I was quite surprised. Most of the issues we're trying to fix are installation related, not machine learning or AI related. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. And so we're still trying to fix, how do we install this on Mac correctly? Yeah, so we're having these not very interesting issues that I don't really like, but we have to fix them because these are necessary for installation. But yeah.
So Daniel, let me ask you. Let me ask you,
have a picture for it.
because because I think it's very important. First of all, we're showing kind of a demo of the Onslaught web. Before you had a package, right? There's a Python package, I believe, and CLI tools, and you guys have done quantizations for a bunch of models. You ran models with not that much compression loss, basically for faster. But then now you moved into a product area. Now there's a studio, there's a web UI built. You can pass your Hugging Face tokens, for example. What is this web UI letting me do that I couldn't do before? What is Studio for? Who is it for? What changes?
Yes. So previously we did not have a UI at all. We were mostly focused on, bug fixes and models. We fixed a few bugs in Llama, Gemma, Mistral, nearly every single open source model, DeepSeek and stuff like that. We just post these findings on Twitter. And yes, we provide, quants. So I think we're the fourth largest distributor of models by number of GB downloaded in the entire world. So we do 1-bit quants, 2-bit quants. The trick is don't quantize every single layer down to 1 bit.
Can you say that again,
Yes.
please? You're the fourth
we're the fourth largest distributor of
models by gigabytes.
By GB downloaded. So we distribute a lot of large models. And people just download through us. On Hugging Face they download for us. I think we just crossed 200 million total downloads. So we do a lot of these work. But there's no product involved. And so we decided to be how do we, we're not really product people. So we just decided, okay, let's just make a UI that people keep asking us for this. How do we do fine tuning? How do we do inference? But not just with Python code. And so we decided to whip up a UI. It did take us a few months to do. And yeah, we just posted this during GTC week. To be honest, it was much more interest than we expected. I think I thought it was gonna flop, or no one's gonna use it. There are quite a few people using it, so we're very excited to the community to like it. Yeah.
I've seen the CTO of Hugging Face, I think, like fine-tune a model with Onslaught Studio and kind of get excited about this and just like basically end-to-end fine-tuning from a UI, right? This is kind of the promise of Onslaught Studio. This is it's kind of interesting to see the world where agentic engineering, cloud code, like all of these tools are bringing people down towards the engineering, right? People who never done this before, but also now it's able to help build web UI tools for people that never thought about fine tuning before, and this is what I think is great that you guys are doing this. What other usages, interesting usages that you saw from people who never like otherwise would fine tune a model?
I think so. So the UI has like 4 different components. So it has a fine tuning piece where you can export. It has like an auto AI assistant, so you can do data preparation as well. Like, I think that's one of the interesting features. Like, and also like the chat tab. And so you can actually chat with the model. Where and so like you can actually do inference. And so like I think that's the difference between other UIs. Is like you can also chat with your model after you finish the fine tune, and you can compare like before the training process and after the training process, what the model actually looked like. And so like there are some extra things that we have in the UI that are like slightly more different. It's more like you can use it as like an inference engine, like it's like an LM Studio or Llama as well. You can use it something like that. So we, for example, have code execution, web search, all the tool calling systems. We try to make it as like ChatGPT as possible. But also, there is like the fine-tuning piece. We plan to add, reinforcement learning, continuous fine-tuning. There's much more coming. But yeah, there's a lot of things that people use that are part of the UI. And we like try to put as much as possible into the UI. Yeah.
This is great. And folks definitely should download and install Onslaught Studio and play around with this and give Daniel feedback and bugs. Nissan, go ahead.
I love the onboarding for it. This is one thing a lot of people missed. And before, because I've trained a lot of models and people wanted to know how we're going to run it with so many GPUs and stuff. And I've just found it most of the time, instead of telling them about Axolotl and Docker, I'm just like, just get a Google Colab, just open one of the Onslaught collabs because I don't want to deal with you. It's like, it's probably going to work. But yeah, I really like the onboarding interface. Do not skip the onboarding, guys. It's actually very nice. Like if you want to train a small 2B or for kids or whatever, the UI actually is surprisingly pretty nice. And I like that it installed everything too. Just install Llama CVP. The installer is great, even though it's not quote unquote like a package that you double click on, but it did actually install everything, CUDA, everything it needed even for older GPUs. So I'm a big fan of the onboarding.
Thank you. Yeah, like
this is great.
Yeah, some people complain about the onboarding process, so we have a button now. Skip. Yeah, but anyways, thanks a lot. Yeah.
So I have to ask. I have to ask this, Daniel. Does this support weights and biases?
Yes, 100%. So we allow you. So in the fine tuning part, on the very bottom, there is the evaluation part. People keep asking us, like, how do we save the logs? I don't just want to do fine tuning. I want to see the training loss. And so yes, you can put your weights and biases token on the very bottom. I think we also put it at the very top in the evaluation section. And so when you plug it in, it will automatically sync with a weights and biases account. You can also launch like multiple runs and it will like sync. So you can actually see this in real time. Yes, definitely.
It's great. We love it. Applause. Thank you. It's also open source, right? Like completely open source?
Yes, correct.
So thank you for releasing this, folks. If you ever thought going into the fine-tuning world and you were like overwhelmed with the amount of CLIs and installations, whatever, Onslaught Studio is like a one step to get there. And it's great. From the folks who brought you from the folks who are fourth on Hugging Face in gigabytes of downloads of open source models and released every model under the sun. Daniel, a bunch of the stuff, now I want to like grill you a little bit. A bunch of the stuff that you guys are doing is quantizations. Yeah. If you were to explain quantization to somebody smart but that never heard about the term before, how would you describe what is a quantization for in the world of LLM models?
Yes, it's a good question. So most models, when they finish training, they have like 16 bits. So each number is like 16 little digits. Like there's 16 bits for each number. but not every single number can be like, you don't need to use 16 bits of space. For example, if the number is like 1, 2, 3, 4, you don't actually need, 16 bits for each number. You can just use like, 2 bits, for example, for 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So like 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. Each of them can represent 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you kind of like saved a lot of space. You don't need to use 16 bits. You only need to use 2 bits. And so like that's kind of how you do quantization. You lose 0% accuracy, and you just squished all of the data into like a few bits. But that's not probably correct. Because that's a very dumb example. But in general, what you can do is if you have like some fractions or some decimals, you can round it to the closest number. So for example, if it's 1.1, round it to 1, and then quantize this down. And so like this is kind of like quantization. You like round it to the closest integer or something like this, and you can like make the space reduce dramatically. You do lose some accuracy, like some small little amount of accuracy, but the goal is to reduce space with no accuracy degradation. Something along the lines of that.
Yeah, that's great. So there's different like methods of quantization, different variants, and definitely for folks who are into the open source, who've been following the podcast, every time an open source model released, there's a huge giant file that you need to download. Many people take this file, quantize this. You guys are one of the top folks to do this as well. And then you can basically try to run this on a smaller machine that you otherwise would. There's a few things there. One is, and I'm kind of leading us towards, where I'm leading us towards too. One is the actual size in gigabytes of the actual file. Then there's also how much effect on your memory, on your computer, this file will affect, right? You have to load this file in. We talk about a mixture of experts, for example, where only some of the knowledge of this file gets activated at running, but the file itself is still huge, right? So there's like different methods of handling the fact that you need RAM to load this, to process whatever query that you have. Can you now try to explain to us in 2 sentences, 3 sentences, KV cache?
Yes. So the model is just weights. And so the thing that I described before was called weight quantization. So like the thing that you load up in your computer, the actual brain of the computer, so the brain of the AI model, you try to like quantize that. That's weight quantization.
By the way, weights and biases, this is the reason for weights and biases, right?
Okay.
Like this is literally the company, what we do is like we help people produce this weights file, a big file, a bunch of numbers of weights. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's a very good comparison. Yeah. Like, but like during inference time, you do want to store like the old tension, like, mechanisms of the model. You want to store the old history of your chat somewhere. And this is called the KV cache. You need to store the old history, on your computer, on your GPU somewhere. And you utilize this KV cache as a way to like, query your old history. And so it's stored somewhere in your computer. But note I said history. And so this is actually very problematic because if your conversation is very, 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 very long, you will need to use a lot of memory. And so if you're referring to TurboQuant, and so like, TurboQuant, the trick is you don't want to do weight quantization, which is just the brain. You also want to quantize the memory, the chat history. And you quantize this as well. And now you can fit like very long context, fit very long history.
So Daniel, you caught my kind of like attempt to lead us towards the next thing. I just want to announce the next thing. I just tell people what we're talking about. Google Research has released something called TurboQuant. It's a quantization or compression algorithm for that KV cache that you said. So that history in transformers, where basically all of the previous attention is stored in somewhere. This is the problem with like the LDJ. We mentioned quadratic attention. Feel free to jump in here, by the way, as well. We mentioned the quadratic problem with attention. The more attention you have, the kind of the more the memory that's required to carry these models doubles. We also keep talking about the fact that, hey, folks, context memory 3 years ago when we started ThursdAI with OpenAI was like 8,000 context window tokens up to 32,000. Now we're talking about models with millions of tokens in the context window. It's great that the model can attend to 1 million tokens in the context window, but it's very, very, very expensive and very hard on GPUs. And by the way, if you guys are seeing the memory stocks the stocks of the companies that create memory going ridiculous. And if you try to buy an SD card, like just RAM like sticks, and you saw their prices exploding. This is why everybody understands that, like, we get much more benefit from longer context. Longer context is exploding in KV cache. All of this needs to be stored per user, per conversation, and it's just like an incredible hog on the system. But everybody understand where we want to go with this. And then, so this week, Google released something called KV TurboQuant, which is a 6x compression on KV cache and 8 times as a speed up, with their claimed zero accuracy loss. Now, we should be very careful here. They did train this on very small models. They didn't train this on, trillion-size models. Still, I haven't seen examples. But Daniel, would love to hear from you, just like immediate reactions on such a release. And LDJ, I also want to hear from you on this as well, because I know you researched this and looked into it.
Interestingly, they actually released the papers last year, I think. And I think it was this year, like, just, I think yesterday. Oh, is it today? No, it was yesterday. And they made like a post about, like, talking about the 3 combined research components.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the research is actually pretty good. So like, I think most people, focus on like trying to do kernel optimizations, try to make attention faster, like, doing faster matrix multiplications. And this approach is actually different. This approach takes it a more maths approach. They try to do more like how do we compress the KV cache using special maths tricks? Like trying to like apply a rotation matrix. The picture you're showing. Trying to apply like a rotation matrix. Doing some sort of like 1-bit Johnson-Lindenstrauss transform and stuff like this. And so their approach is more mathematical. And so like they apply mathematical tricks, sketching algorithms, randomized algorithms to try to compress the memory. And to be honest, I actually like this approach. This is kind of the stuff that we need to make AI much more better and much more efficient. We should not just rely on like kernel tricks or like CUDA hacks and stuff like this. Mathematical breakthroughs are what we need. And so this research is actually very good. That's kind of my take.
So I want to plug in Yam here and LDJ as well, folks, because I think throughout the last 3 years on the show, we've seen a bunch of hat tricks like this. For example, for long context, right? We saw this one guy come up with this thing that became a paper from News Research about like how to extend context with also positional rotation of neurons there. Is this such a breakthrough or not? LDJ, I want to hear from you first, and then Yam.
Yeah, so definitely not in recent times. As Daniel said, this came out a year ago. Like it was even publicly published a year ago. So even this specific thing, I wouldn't say is new, but even a year ago when it
clarify what came out a year ago. The paper and the papers it's based on are on arXiv, were published in April of 2025. The Google research announcement came out this week, right? We don't cover year ago things. The Google research did announce like this, hey, we're launching, and it's because ICLR 2026 is coming up, and they're probably going to present this paper over there. But so the news came out that the technology posted online publicly a year ago.
Yes, but even when it initially came out, there is around that same period of time, you have things like DeepSeek, MLA, and DSA. And while they're not exactly the same thing, and while I do think Google's approach here does offer some like interesting ideas, I think their comparison to the baseline, which is 16-bit stored KV cache, I think that's not exactly like a fair and I think real world comparison to what is actually the most commonly used thing at the moment. A lot of people are already compressing KV cache beyond that. And with things like DeepSeek, MLA, and DSA, while it's not doing exactly the same thing, the overall compression relative to something like regular 16-bit stored KV cache ends up being already like a similar or even more compression to TurboQuant, while also showing similar or even better capabilities to the uncompressed KV. I get that. That's my main summary of my take. Yeah.
So your basic summary is there's technologies that do better than this already in the open source. What's the big deal with this one?
Kind of, yeah. Although I do think it has, yeah. I do think that ideas that they offer are kind of interesting to think about, though, even though the overall thing might not necessarily be clearly better than anything that exists.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, I want to get to you, but I will say this has similar smell to me from the world of outside of our bubble, of outside of the archive papers, outside of the folks who follow AI closely, because this broke through the barrier of our bubble wall and went all the way to Wall Street, and financial analysts decided that this means something for memory stocks. And so for the past like 2 days or so, we've seen a drop in the prices, which are exuberant because they blew up on the prices of memory creation companies. Which I just want to address that this sounds ridiculous to me. If we find such an unhubbling, if we find such a way to improve memory, we're just going to use more memory. We're still going to use more memory. The context windows are not going backwards. They're not locked in a specific place. I post about this. It's just so stupid to me that somebody would look at this and say, oh, we're not going to need as much memory sticks anymore. It's just like ridiculous to me. Sorry.
100% agree.
Right? It's like the Jevons paradox that we keep mentioning in GPUs applies here as well. The cheaper something is, the more approachable something is, the more of it people will use, especially in AI, because everybody's just running for this. Everybody's constrained on memory. Everybody wants to give you 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million context windows, and they can't because it's expensive. If the second it becomes less expensive, more people will do it, and they will need even more memories. Yam, want to hear from you. Did you try to implement this? What's your experience?
Yeah. At first I did, and I saw other people on X that also did. This is relatively simple for implementation.
Oh yes, Prince Kanuma, our friend who was here, the MLX King, just yeeted this research into Cloud Code. They implemented this in MLX within like 2 hours of it.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that those type of papers, realistically, there is always a trade-off. Some sort of trade-off. There is no free lunch in this field. Okay, the trade-off is either the size of the model or the precision of how you run it on inference. You can or the context length or the precision of the context length. Precision adds an error. You will feel it at some point. You can go all the way and quantize as much as you want. However, it does allow you to use a larger model that in general has much better performance. So, relatively, you do your trade-off where you get the best performance for the resources that you have. And the paper states this very clearly. Hey, these are the numbers, this is what we got, and it looks well, and this is what we tried it on, and this is the numbers that we got, and it looks well. And when you try it, you also get, on some cases and some scenarios, you do get nice looking numbers, but at the end, it's not that a single paper, and the paper doesn't even claim to be something that just destroys the entire market, and all of a sudden you don't need RAM because there is a RAM shortage. Over the past couple of days, it's just like when DeepSeek launched, the Nvidia stock started crashing because what did people think, that you don't need GPUs now because I don't get the logic here. The thing is that it is unique and quite embarrassing that only now someone tried to use polar coordinates to do quantization. It's more, the thing that's exciting about this is that it's not an engineering trick. It's not that you try some specific a trick about precision to use the same thing, but in a shorter, denser way that you can squeeze a little bit more. It's more fundamental than this, and it's it's a very nice idea to try and pursue in general. I must say, and this is why people are excited about this. The thing is that you see all these posts of the LinkedIn bros that just go, AI now just blows your mind, like emoji. Everything is done. We don't need RAM anymore. And then people just believe it and the market crash.
Yeah, run 1 trillion
really
model.
Nice paper.
Run 1 trillion nice model paper on your laptops is not happening tomorrow because of TurboQuant.
Wait. 1 trillion model on your laptop is actually happening for real? Because
Yeah, it is happening for real. I did see this.
Yeah, but yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
We should bring this to at least the show notes so folks know what you're talking about. I saw an actual person running a 1 trillion parameter model by offloading some stuff, and it like fairly works. All right, Danny, I want to hear one like concluding thought for you on this, and other like things in this area that are interesting you before we move on to big labs, because we've been at this for an hour. But generally, is this as revolutionary everybody hypes about? Not, and what are some stuff like this that you're looking forward to?
I think most like everyone said was kind of like correct. Like it's obviously not like dramatic. However, I think it's a good direction people should focus on. Like people should focus less on trying to do like kernel optimizations, like new quantization schemes. That's probably not going to move the needle anymore. And we do need help from like the randomized algorithms folks, the mathematical folks. I think the trick was attention is O of n squared. But you don't actually need it, right? So it's just, 10, sigmoid QK transpose over root D. You can like get rid of this entirely. And so like, essentially the trick is like, you don't actually need everything. You just need numbers from 0 to 1. And it's a scale. And so like, I think like, the mathematical tricks are pretty cool. And maybe there is obviously a trade-off. Every single compression algorithm you do, randomized algorithms or not, there's always going to be a trade-off. And so like I think the main takeaway, like for the extraction and stuff like that, is they wrote somewhere in the the blog, Gemini is trying to implement this inside of their stack. So maybe that's kind of what maybe combined with the the 1 trillion, I think it's 500 billion or something, or 500 billion to 1 trillion running on your mobile phones. Someone did actually do that offloading on their Mac or something. Everything combined together probably signaled, there is some change in the AI research space. We can do things more efficiently. You can run large models on your local devices. But yes, I agree on Jevon's paradox, right? So like I don't think so. Like if you make it easier for people to run, you will get more demand. And so like it's probably like a knee-jerk reaction, most likely. Just sell everything, just like the software stocks. Like Claude Code, sell everything first. Worry about it later. And so. Yeah, it's more like a knee-jerk reaction for now.
Alrighty. Well, Daniel, I really appreciate your time here. Folks, definitely check out Onslaught Studio if you ever tried or didn't try or wanted to try fine-tuning, and your quantizations are great as well. Feel free to stick with us. Feel free to drop whatever you need. But you're welcome to be a co-host to the rest of the show. We need to move on towards the big labs because there's a bunch of stuff happening that we want to tell you about. And big labs is like one of the focuses on the show as well. In big companies, LLMs and APIs, we cover everything that happens in the world of kind of big company AIs. And I think the number one thing that we should mention is Claude Mac Control. Have you guys tried this? If you go to your Claude, and maybe I should show this kind of on stage without, let me look at Claude for a second and see. First of all, if it's up. For the past week, Claude has been down 3 out of the 5 times that I tried it, which is kind of bad. I'm assuming they're handling all of the insane demand. I saw somewhere that they're growing 30% week over week. Somebody that's like an investor in Claude, in Anthropic, said Anthropic is growing 30% week over, which is insane numbers at their scale. If you think about like numbers at scale, this is just unbelievable numbers to keep growing that fast. Also, Claude is not opening, so I'm stalling, guys. Hold on. While this also happens, I saw some other folks saying that Claude. You guys remember we told you about the 19 billion ARR in Claude versus in Anthropic versus OpenAI's 25 billion that they're catching up. Apparently, those are accounting tricks, and they're not accounting for GAAP revenue in a different way. And Cloud is not external. Blah blah. I'm not an accountant. Tax season's coming up. I'm very worried, so I have no idea what the fuck they said. But basically, what they said is if Anthropic measures their ARR the same way the OpenAI would measure, there'd be much less than the 19 billion that they're like coming up to OpenAI. So there's that. There's also the fact that Ramp, the credit card company, released the fact that like enterprises are taking over, but nobody that buys OpenAI as enterprise uses Ramp cards. So like that data is also not very indicative. So there's a whole a lot of things that are happening there. But that's not what I want to tell you. I was just stalling because Claude was slow to start up. What I want to tell you is that Claude launched computer use. Now, if you launch your Claude app and you go to settings and you scroll down, there's a button here that says computer use. Let Claude take screenshots and control your keyboard and mouse in apps you allow. And then you can say which apps you allow. For example, my disallowed app is obviously 1Password. I don't want Claude to access my password. What we do know is that the Claude models, and I think they're using Opus for this, which is slow, but Claude models are great at computer use. Web Voyager, like all of these stuff. And so Claude can now actually control your mouse. You turn on, you enable accessibility settings, which you need to so that it can control your Mac. And then Claude will control your Mac. Have you guys tried it? Or have you seen other folks try it? I tried it a little bit. I honestly wasn't able to get it to work. I tried to do something and it went and opened the browser. So it's kind of confusing to me when it decides to do it. And I know for a fact that this is something that people love their open clause for. Has anybody here tried it? Has anybody in the comments tried Claude Computer? Somebody said yes, but I want to hear computer use.
I tried it when it came out originally. Remember, that was over a year ago. Was it 2 when Anthropic released the computer use that you could run in a Docker where it has the Linux?
Dockers, yeah. Yes.
I don't have it in my system right now because it's not enabled here. But yeah, I've always been looking forward when it becomes an actually usable product where it controls really your computer. So super to see it happening now.
Yeah, so folks are getting like fairly excited about this. As far as I saw reactions, it's slow because it sends every screenshot, and obviously this is not how like the web interface kind of works. But they also have their web interface. All right, so this is Anthropic Claude computer use. It's a very big thing. Wolfram, you mentioned that the Gemini Live thing is a huge deal. I want to hear why, and let's kind of talk about this. Maybe test it out because this is also in big companies in the voice and audio, but this is a big company release that happened this. Literally as we started the show. Maybe announce the announcement, what they released, and then we'll talk about why you think it's a huge deal.
Yeah, so basically available to Gemini. Gemini upgraded. Let me just check where is the release notes. I don't see it right now, but I opened it on X. Yeah, Gemini 3.1 Live is a new live model from Google where you can use it to see and talk to. It's similar to what OpenAI has with their GPT-4o based model that we had, where you can share your screen, share your camera, talk to the model in real time, interrupt it in a real conversation. And this is the 3.1 release, so it's based on the latest generation of Gemini. And they had Gemini 3.0, and the live version was always stuck at 2.5. Mm-hmm. It was a very old version that we had. And even when Gemini 3 came out, it was still stuck at 2.5. And if you use it on your phone as an assistant and you show some stuff, you always got the old version. And now it's 3.1, which means you got a big unlock for this capability to use the live mode, show it audio, video, talk to it directly. So that is super excited about this.
I gotta. Do we know if it's like an Omni model or if it's just Google packaging the 3 models? It's Omni, right? It's like Omni end to end.
Yeah, it can see your video, talk about it, reason about it. It's an
Go ahead.
I've used 2.5 live before through the AI Studio. It actually worked pretty fine. The reason I was using it, I'm doing random stuff in Blender in 3D, and I just needed it.
Show this again. You have a speaker.
Yeah, it's like a 6-dimensional mouse thing that can.
Oh, nice.
Move stuff in Blender, and I just don't use Blender, so it was very nice to have it look at the screen and just kind of tell me where to go or how to do rigging, instead of having to watch YouTube and then go back to it. So even 2.5 actually did that pretty well. I'm going now on AI.dev.
Wait, watch the screen. Hold on, I really
exactly the same.
I want to pause here for a second.
Exactly the same.
This is not advanced audio mode from OpenAI. This thing sees pixels and hears audio, right?
Exactly.
So basically what we just said from computer use in Anthropic, just an item before where it takes fucking screenshots and sends megabytes of files over to Anthropic. This is not how this works. This is an intelligence of the Gemini 3 Pro Lite level that sees what's on your computer in real time and reacts to it, and you can talk to it with interruptions. We have Nistan, please continue. This is like that big. Okay.
Yeah. It's like the first usable live AI companion. And obviously, everything you do on AI.dev ends up as Google training data by default, by the way. So nothing here is private. I don't care because I'm not a Blender guru or anything. I'm just more learning how to use it. But it was extremely useful for me even at 2.5. Because again, you just do a screen share. It's via the browser. It's really easy. You just turn on screen share, go on whatever app, AutoCAD or something weird, and then it knows. Like it'll look stuff up on the fly for you. It'll tell you. It's like a live YouTube tutorial just for you.
I think
so much time.
I think we have to try this. Like I think this is one of the things. This is why people come to the show, folks. In AI Dev, so AIstudio.dev, talk to Gemini Live. This is the new Flash audio model. I believe it's that because I think I had early access to it, but I haven't tested. I didn't have time to test this. And then you can have a webcam turned on, and you can talk to it. Let's enable webcam. Acknowledge. And then here's me from the other endpoint. What's up? And I think we're talking to Google. Can you guys hear the thing?
Can it configure your audio to?
Oh, so webcam is running, but I also need to start recording. What's up, Gemini? How are you doing? What can you see?
Hey there! I'm doing pretty well, thanks for asking. I can see you sitting in front of your setup, wearing a black t-shirt and headphones. You've got a Rode microphone right there.
Hey, Gemini, stop. What is this? What is this? It stopped completely for me. Okay, let's try this again. Let's try. Obviously, live demos, they often work like this.
Maybe because you said stop.
Maybe, yeah. So we're turning off the camera, we're turning off the microphone, and I'm going to try this again. What's up, Gemini? What am I holding?
That's a ring pop, specifically one featuring the Paw Patrol pups. Is that a favorite of yours?
Let me show you this closer. What do you think this is now?
Ah, my mistake. Up close, I can see it's a toy resembling a small, bright orange shoe, like a clog. It has blue and red decorations, maybe for a sport or a team. What exactly is it?
I don't know. I got this from, look at the logo on it. Can you see where it's from?
I can definitely see the logo now. That's the McDonald's logo. So this miniature shoe is probably a Happy Meal toy. It looks like it's part of a collaboration with Crocs. Is that right?
That's impressively right. Tell me about this stamp. Where is this email from? Where is this mail from?
That U.S. postage stamp indicates it was mailed from zip code 80223, which is in Denver, Colorado. The date shown is March 6th.
Can you go on the web and look up stuff for me?
I don't think you can.
Yes, I can definitely help with that. What are you looking for today?
We are hosting a show live right now called ThursdAI. Can you tell me where it usually streams to? Which destinations?
I found some information about that. ThursdAI typically streams live on platforms like Twitter, now X, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Is that right? Or were you thinking of another platform?
All right, let me pause right here. What the fuck? This was so fast. Did you guys see this?
No problem. Take your time. Just let me know when you're ready for me to look anything up.
All right, shut up. Thank you.
Alex, the big thing here is not, I mean, you have advanced voice models, you have real-time
Bro,
voice.
did you see the fucking web lookup? I always chat with advanced voice model. This is 7 times as fast.
The big thing is that it's also a smart model. It's also the real Gemini. That's the real thing. You had already advanced voice mode, but and they are real time, but they are kind of dumb. It's not. They are not the same thing.
Yeah.
Here, for the first time, you have the real Gemini in real time. We never had this before.
Wow.
That's the big thing here. And this
it's
is why
Gemini
you get
Flash.
these
It's not the full
results.
Gemini 3 Pro. We're just like need to make sure. But yes, it's like, do you guys see like the reaction time was incredible? Wolfram?
And it has internet access.
It has internet web search access and tool use.
It has even more, because this is Google's Gemini Assistant on your phone. So for me, this thing, when I use it, it knows my all my data. It has access to my Gmail. If I show it a postcard like you did, and it would probably even find out what it is about because we discussed it before. So it has access to the memories. It is really an assistant. And I've been using it a lot, and especially this live mode was using the 2.5 flash, so it was rather dumb. You notice the difference in the intelligence. And now I can use this. They just leveled up my whole assistant experience. Because sure, I use OpenClaw or Hermit, but Google is always there. I just need to say the magic words, and it wakes up, and it has access to all of the calendar, mails, to-do list, everything. And now I can also show it stuff, and it realizes this, and I have an intelligence upgrade. So when Google does something like this, it's upgrading something I've been using constantly. And that's what makes me excited about this, the integration. Your assistant just got leveled up even more.
I forgot the last time I was like so excited. I remember in the beginning of the show, every new release, like the advanced voice mode blew our fucking minds when we used it. And I kind of got used to the fact that like, okay, they're faster, etc. We had Quinn Kramer on the show. Daily is running, most of the internet like streaming stuff is running on Daily, and Pipekit is like the top open source for this. Quinn always tells us that for speed, you still need to control the intelligence. You still need to do the TTS, we're going to talk about, and ASR in the beginning and TTS at the end. In the middle, you have to like play around with the intelligence and the speed. This is kind of a unified model of one of the like top Gemini models that does all of this. The speed here is bonkers. And okay, it's a whole release of a model. Let's look at the actual blog post. Meanwhile, folks, feel free to chime in. I'm going to look up the actual kind of evals.
Do we have prices? Do we have prices? Because one thing for sure, Gemini was before the cheapest option for advanced voice on the API. So I don't know about the price of this one. We should check, but it's definitely something worth mentioning, because I must admit that the others are quite expensive, to say the least. I mean, quite a lot.
Yeah, this gets to you, like the price, because it's price per minute and the per etc. So let me just pull up this entire screen, Yam, and then show some evals, folks. In Big Bench Audio, which measures basically general audio for conversations, this gets a number 2 score, 95%. The only one that's faster, like better than them, is Step Audio. We talked to you about Step Audio a while ago. This is like better than Grok Agent, better than Gemini 2.5 and Nova Sonic and GPT Real Time. GPT Real Time is what powers the OpenAI Advanced Voice Mode, and it's significantly better. It also sounds better than this, and also. Scale AI Audio Multi-Challenge, Gemini 3.1 Flash Live. This is a whole thing to say. Gemini 3.1 Flash Live leads with a score of 36% with thinking on. The benchmark specifically tests complex instruction following and long horizon reasoning amidst the interruptions and hesitations typical of real-world audio. This is an important point for us to stress out, especially when you talk to voice-based assistants. I don't know if folks already changed the way they talk. I definitely changed the way I talk. We talked about this on the show. They are eager for you to stop talking, to start like doing the stuff that you say. Humans pause. We here, the 6 of us here on the show, we have a tendency of like waiting for Alex to stop speaking, for example, to slide in and say your stuff. The model is like super eager at this. And so sometimes the model will start like going on a tangent before you like finish your complex thought. This is what this benchmark tests for. And Audio Multi-Challenge from Scale AI. And Gemini 3.1 Thinking High gets 36% on this. GPT Real Time is really good at this with 34%. With Thinking Minimal, it gets 26%. So you can also control the thinking. Yam, you asked for prices. Let's look at price here. There's a bunch of folks that like tested it out.
The benchmark is like how much you need to do. So it won't,
Yes.
How many in the middle. That's pretty much the benchmark. Yeah.
Do you need to keep saying between every word or between 5 words? Like this. Okay. Search Live is now enabled. So Flash Live is now multimodal as well. Wait, multimodal. I should talk to it multimodal and test it out. It's now launched with people from over 200 countries and territories. Now real-time multimodal conversation with search in their preferred language. So this is like built into the search of Google. It's really cool. This is absolutely incredible.
You know where they are going with this? Imagine the AI classes from Google when this is happening live. And it sees what you see and talks to you live. This will be a major part of this, the biggest part.
So we have the model card here. Wolfram, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry to sound like Claude, but I think you're absolutely right. We're moving towards, real-time experience of our world with Meta glasses, their glasses, which they announced like 2 years ago almost. Model card, Gemini native capabilities. As a member of the Gemini series, blah, blah, blah. They have inputs, audio, images, video, and text. So native multimodal with a token context window of up to 128K, and outputs audio and text with 64K, which is very, very decent. Based on Gemini 3 Pro, probably a distilled model. What else? I don't see price at all. Eva's methodology.
I put a link in our private chat, Alex. There's a link to the pricing.
Let's take a look. Okay, link to the pricing, and then we'll move on. I think it's absolutely a top piece of news from this week. Okay, pricing. Input price, 75 cents for million tokens for text, $3 for audio, and $1 for image and video. It's very interesting that the audio costs more than video. Very, very interesting. Output price is $4.50 or $12 per minute for, $12 per audio, or what is this? 1 cent per minute, right? Is this 1.8 cents per minute?
Yeah, looks like, or 1.18 cents. Yeah.
1.18.
Wait.
Yeah.
No, sorry. No, you're right.
No, this is 1.8 cents. So basically,
Yeah.
1 cent per minute of audio. And it has grounding with Google search. So you get the prompts for free. It's incredible. Wait, hold on. There's 2 pricing tiers. This is the pay tier. There is a free tier. Input price is free of charge. Output price is free of charge. Grounding with Google supported. Used to train the products. Yes. So you can use this model for free if you're okay with Google training on your voice and your data, which many people are. And as Nistan said, wow. All right. That's great, folks.
There must be a rate limit for this. Come on.
There must be.
It must be limited.
And they didn't mention it.
Yeah.
But,
well, this is awesome. Wolfram and LDJ, and let's move on.
Yeah, just quickly, I did a quick comparison to OpenAI's GPT real time, and their audio input is $32 per million tokens instead of $3 per million tokens. And their audio output is $64 per million tokens. Well, this is $12 per million tokens. So it's significantly cheaper.
Wow.
And
you are absolutely right. You are
$5 per million.
right.
I had an agent do this because we don't have the time. So I hope everything is correct. But this is the information my research has given me. So double check it, of course. But it looks significantly cheaper. Text output $20 per million token for GPT real time. Or is real time? Yeah, it's their Omni model.
Yeah. GPT real time is expensive.
Wow.
It's impossible.
It is definitely super cheap compared.
Wolfram, how quick can my beautiful Richie Mini here start having a real-time conversation with me? This is exactly what this is for. I can say, hey, start watching me, and then I really want it here.
Yeah, it already has some stuff like that. I used it already, but it was the old version. So now your Richie just got an intelligence upgrade as well.
Basically, folks, yeah, this is it. This is like, it has eyes. It has a speaker.
Make a web UI with a full camera feed and a bunch of actions that it can toggle, and then just hook that up to Gemini. It's like a screen share, and then you'll have Gemini talking to you.
Listen, I'm not an LLM. You cannot prompt me, but it sounds like a prompt that Claude Code can absolutely just do. LDJ, let's finish this up and let's move on. But holy hell, folks, this is so exciting. This is so dope. I love this.
Yeah, just as a callback to your original topic and question you're bringing up about if this is omnimodal, it does seem like this, even since Gemini 1.5 at least, that they've been kind of saying in small parts of their papers and in their blogs about how it has these multiple modalities. And it seems like what they're maybe doing with things like Nano Banana and now Gemini Live Audio is that it seems like maybe they're actually doing basically fine-tuned models, distilling some of the best capabilities of certain modalities from, let's say, their flagship like Gemini 3 Pro, and then bringing that specifically into like generating a bunch of high quality audio, putting that into its own model, generating a bunch of high quality images, putting that into its own model. And I guess that's the results of what we're seeing here.
100%. This is insane. All right, folks, I want to run through some other audio news because I think there's important, and they dropped. So this is a full Omni model, and we coined this, LDJ, if you remember, a long time ago, MMIO, like multimodal input and output. This is multimodal input and output. This doesn't output video yet, but at some point we'll get to a point where it'll also like generate a full character that talks to you based on all this. But now it's like generally possible with other models. But if you're not building Omni models and you still want to build voice agents, there's a bunch of like elements that you have to do. You have to do ASR well. You have to do automatic speech recognition well, and you have to kind of have a processing LLM in the middle, and then you have to do a TTS on the end to actually generate voice. 2 companies that are completely new to this just entered the arena. 2 companies. Mistral drops Voxtral TTS, 3 billion parameter open weight text-to-speech model. They say beats 11's Flash in human preference tests. Do you guys want to do a human preference test right now and hear this? Let's do it. It's available in 9 languages and accurately captures diverse dialects. That's what they say. Mistral always compares to themselves. It's very interesting to see a Mistral release to compare them to somebody else. I will just say it's very interesting. This is Sophia Yang from Mistral, like showing this. Let's have this. Let's have a listen to this. Try Voxel TTS. I have a Mistral Studio open up, and then we're gonna test it out. I need to just do this thing, and you should be able to hear and see. All right. So, what should we say? What should we say? Hey, I'm Mistral TTS. How are you? Simple. Yeah. Let's do generate speech.
What should we say? Hey, I'm Mistral TTS. How are you?
Okay, decent. It's hard to like. It's the excited voice. I don't see any motion control. There's code here. I don't know if you guys know if there's a motion control, but they have a the same voice. You can say neutral, happy, and frustrated. Let's look at frustrated.
I find myself getting frustrated because...
Okay. Let me just like check the frustrated voice. How do I select this voice? Okay, let's try the same sample again with frustrated voice.
What should we say? Hey, I'm Mistral TTS. How are you?
All right. This is okay. I don't know if like I'm preferencing this 11 labs, but folks, we've played a bunch of samples and examples, and in-world TTS currently, as far as I'm like showing, is one of the top ones. But a shout out to Mistral for a 3 billion parameter open weight, fully open weight for this. What else can we say? They claim 70 milliseconds latency. I'm not showing the right thing. I'll show you the right thing in a second. If you guys remember Quindla Kramer that talks about the latency, everybody like chooses how to tell you about latency. There's real world latency, end-to-end latency versus just a thing. Wolfram, I think, was first, and then Yam. Feel free to chime in.
Clapping applause for another open source release.
Yes, 100%. Yam, go ahead.
Look, it's a great release, and thank you for the open source, 100%. I just want to say 2 things. First, I want to say it takes a while to find out where the gap is between these type of models and the closed source models. It's not that it's not good, it's that the edge cases throw them off. And second, this is a great model. However, you're comparing 4B, if I'm correct.
3 billion.
And and text to speech, you have on Hugging Face a model of 82 million parameters. That is decently very usable. I use it. It's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, it does have its own edge cases and so on. But to justify for B, you really need to be extremely well. So, I'm not claiming anything. I'm just saying that it might be the best model ever, and probably is if you can run it. It's not cheap in terms of compute. You have cheaper options. If you can run it, it's probably the best at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we do need to test it and find edge cases before we can just say how good it is I don't know, to everyday use. Pretty much.
Fully agree. Mistral tends to, and we know this on the show, Mistral tends to release the stuff that Mistral kind of as ecosystem needs. So Mistral needs to be able to offer their audience, their clients, a full end-to-end agent capability building. And this adds to Voxtral. Voxtral is their transcription TTS, ASR things. They're now adding TTS. So basically, this can now be used as an end-to-end Mistral agent. Now, why would you need 3 billion parameters at the front or to just understand what you're saying, and then 3 billion parameters at the end to say what the agent wants to say, and a whole Mistral thing in the middle? I don't know, but like 70 milliseconds, it sounds dope. You can run this locally with no API costs, or you can run through their system. The second release from today that was very exciting is Cohere. Cohere, who we know and love at multimodal, they're releasing Transcribe. They claim an open source 2 billion parameter ASR, so think Whisper, very similar, that tops Hugging Face open ASR leaderboard with 5% word error rate. So we're gonna definitely test it out. Cohere says that on human evaluation, 61% of win rate against NVIDIA Canary, IBM Granite, and Whisper Large. 64% of folks prefer Cohere's Transcribe. It's really funny because you know that Mistral is good at puns. Every name of the Mistral model is Voxtral, Transtral, Thingstral, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Cohere, this is the first model of theirs that they call Cohere because it hears you. Haha. It's really funny. The folks said this, but basically it's a 2 billion parameter Apache 2 license again. We love open source. The more open source there is, the better. I see Daniel smiling, doing a bunch of open source as well. We have shout outs here for all open source. They have very low word error rate as well. So I'm kind of like interested in this. Look at this beautiful infographic that Nana does for this. This one we can test out. This one we can absolutely test out because it's on Hugging Face. Let's see if we can show you what it can do. Oh, this is the ASR leaderboard on Hugging Face. Cohere now is the top one. Nissan, remind me why, but I think we stopped looking at this ASR leaderboard completely. I think it's like not testing enough or something like this. I don't remember. We used to look at this obsessively and we kind of stopped. Don't remember why, because I don't think it only represents the open source model fully, right? It doesn't represent the state of the art in the world.
There was one where people were clicking and stuff, but that one's no longer around anymore.
Yeah.
And because when people were voting, that one was very useful back then. So I don't know what this new one is.
Yeah. So this one doesn't support Russian, so I won't be able to test it, but German does support. Yeah, so this is Cohere ASR. Folks, I think it's time for one. We can test it out, but transcription is like fairly... I won't say transcription is solved, but it's not solved, okay? Every time I edit the show, I put it in Descript. Descript still cannot understand ThursdAI, which is frustrating after 3.5 years, even though I do, like Nissan said, I do provide it in the documentation. Daniel, thoughts on this? You've been smiling, you're going like this. Thoughts on any of the two releases here from Mistral, from Cohere? What do you think?
Always go open source, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess these models are probably not state of the art, most likely, but it's good. People can run this locally. You can deploy this in enterprise scenarios. You can customize it. And I think it's the more the better.
The more the merrier, 100%. While we have you as kind of quantization expert here on the panel, I'm assuming quantization affects all transformers and all weights-based files. Did you guys ever go into the other modalities, for example, transcription and ASR stuff, and saw whether or not it's possible to optimize them? But we know Kokoro, for example, Kokoro TTS with 25 million, it ran on fully in your web browser, for example. So there's a benefit of these models getting smaller and smaller. Have you guys ventured into this? What are your thoughts on that world? Whether or not how does accuracy work? Any thoughts on this?
Yes. So interestingly, before we actually went into dynamic, so we do something called dynamic quantization, where some bits are 1-bit, 2-bit, 3-bit, and then the most important layers are 16-bit or 8-bit. The first thing we actually wrote for the research was you can't quantize vision models or audio models that much. So we actually wrote a blog post on this. We did dynamic 4-bit quantization, and we showed that if you quantize the vision layers to 4-bit, it would destroy the model actually. And so interestingly, it's because the vision components are actually very small of the entire model. They're not that there's not that many parameters, the vision parts and the audio parts. And so we found that you should just leave this in 16-bit. You probably can do 8-bit, but if you go to 4-bit, it would destroy the entire capabilities of the model. So that's actually quite interesting. So it seems like only the language parts you can quantize. But then the multimodal parts you should not quantize. And the main theory is most likely it's just because it's such a small component of the model. It's not the 1 trillion parameters. It's more like just the 10 billion or the 1 billion part. And so you don't need to you shouldn't actually quantize this. I'm so wanted.
Yeah, is it
That's
because is it because text is discrete? I think I mean what you're saying right now is it just shout you can quantize the discrete part of the model, but anything that is a floating point, it just it just captures more condensed representations, and you destroy it if you quantize. I think I'm just proposing.
Yeah, I think that probably makes sense. I think there's 2 different components. I think the first one is the model is audio, and the vision part is a smaller component of the model. And so the deep learning algorithm backpropagation has force learn it inside these small little weights. And so if you quantize it a lot, it will destroy the model. And also language, as you said, is discrete. It's not a continuous spectrum. Audio and vision, you still need to do patches, they do patches now, but it's more continuous. And so yeah, that kind of makes sense. I guess this needs more research. So folks should do more research into why should you not quantize audio? Or if you do quantize, maybe there's maybe you can do TurboQuant, some special methodology, mathematical trick.
I just want to say the approach is exactly what you guys are doing, dynamic. You just do it in a dynamic process that finds automatically the parts of the model that could be quantized to what extent, and just gives you the best performance and put it on Hugging Face. This is exactly what you should be doing, and you're doing exactly that. So thank you. Yeah.
It's just that for image and multimodal, it is a lot harder to evaluate, because for text, you can just do a perplexity or even cosine similarity, and then for each weight you're quantizing, you can see it in real time. But for visual, that's very hard. What are you going to do? Feed the thing to another model? It's pretty... So I think that's the main part. It's just no way to eval how you change each weight on the way. And then when you go to diffusion, any little thing you have, it'll accumulate errors over the steps. So that's a whole other... that's a lot more sensitive when generating it. So yeah, that's the main thing. It's just hard to evaluate.
So harder to quantize voice models is what I'm getting for this. But the cool thing about voice models, or at least some TTS models, is that some of them are 2 billion parameters, like we just saw, and some of them are millions of parameters in the millions. So this is Irodori TTS from also this week, version 2. It's only Japanese, so we won't be able to necessarily test it right now. I won't understand what it says anyway. But the cool thing about this is that you can control emotion here with emojis. This is a really funny thing. Emoji-based style and sound effect control. By inserting specific emojis into your input text, you can control speaking styles, emotions, or even sound effects in a generated audio. And this thing only weighs 500 million. And we saw Kokoro, we saw a bunch of other ones that are very, very, very small. And so while it's nice that Mistral released theirs as a big one, and this world is known for very small parameter model. It's really funny because Hugging Face is so used to billions parameters. The 500 million model here is quoted as 0.5 billion. So even million parameter models, they're measuring in billion parameters. It's just really funny to me because this model is tiny. Folks, I think it's time for us to move on. There's a bunch of stuff that we haven't covered yet and that we should and we talk about. But basically, the last thing is Lyria. Lyria 3 Pro. Google launches a full 3-minute music tracks with structural control. Full 3-minute with structural control. And I think it's really, really, really dope. We told you about Lyria before. Previously, it released with 30 seconds. Now is a full thing. I want to play... I think Demis Hassabis played something. Demis Hassabis, let me see this one. I want to play his example of the Lyria thing. He said basically perfect background music for 2 a.m. coding. Demis is the leader of, I think, chief scientist. I don't remember exactly the title. Let's see, co-founder and CEO of Google DeepMind. He is famous for finishing his work early, or like at 4, and then sleeping a little bit, and then working super late. So he posted this Lyria soundtrack. Let's take a look. I'm just gonna keep this in the background and tell you that like this was fully generated. We know that Suno now has passed like 200 million or so users, and like it's incredible valuation. So Google now is stepping into the almost real time and full music generation. That's pretty cool. Can compose music from images. It's a new feature there, and this is available in Gemini and Producer.ai. Producer.ai is dope. We showed you this before, and then Google acquired them, and I forgot about this just until this moment. Producer is really, really good. Producer.ai. This is captured the music that you imagine, and I'm assuming that this is now built in there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Producer was able, you can just talk to it and generate tracks. Lyria, anybody play with Lyria? Nistan, I think you mentioned something with like drum and bass, good?
Yeah, that was the only thing that other music generation things couldn't make it. It's actually really good. It does have its limits. Like I wanted to add dial-up sounds and stuff to it, and it just couldn't do that. But so far, I think it's the best one.
Yeah, should we produce a track live on the show? What do you guys think? Let's see. As producer, create a drum and bass opener for a podcast show called ThursdAI. It covers every AI.
Oh, but add vocals and introductions to it, because I didn't test that. I didn't test the vocal.
At the start. So this is using Lyria 3 Pro, the 3-minute generator as a backbone for the music. And then this is going to do lyrics. This is kind of like the Suno thing from Google, but it's a little bit more than that because you can iterate on Suno. So now the sound will be electric dance floor, drum and bass, 174 BPM, high energy podcast opener. And then it wrote to us a bunch of lyrics already. And now it's going to like craft 2 versions. You can see that it runs super fast, so we don't actually have to wait that long. It's already 30%. I gotta wonder how it's gonna sing the ThursdAI. It never works usually because it's not an actual word. It's a ThursdAI or something like this. So let's see.
It might be cringe for the audience. Just be prepared,
folks. This might be cringe. Close your ears. But hey, we want to test out a bunch of stuff, and we're gonna play it.
Welcome to the ultimate weekly wrap-up.
Oh, this is not bad.
Everything that moved the needle. Every breakthrough that changed the world.
This is not bad.
This is
Let's go.
ThursdAI.
ThursdAI, okay.
ThursdAI. 7 days in a blur. Watch the horizon.
I wish I was able to like lower the volume for us to talk over this, but this is not bad. This is not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad, but
it's definitely the best one right now.
Yeah.
Really, you think it's better than Suno? Because you know the new Suno is crazy.
I haven't
good.
used Suno for a while, but it says ThursdAI. Let's play the other one and then see. But hey, controllability wise, Nistan, you said add. Nistan, you said add vocals and introduction at the start. This literally what happened. So like instruction following was spot on, right? Like we told it and it did. Let's play the other one. And then where is it? Oh no, it went away. Oh no, right here.
Welcome to the ultimate weekly wrap-up.
This is the other one.
Everything that moved the needle. Every breakthrough that changed the world. This is ThursdAI.
Come on.
7 days in a blur. Watch the horizon shift.
I like it. I like it. Maybe we'll use this to a new opener because it's been a while since we had an opener. Folks, this is dope. So Lyria Pro from Google, now able to generate 3-minute long, full high quality no rights, right? Like this is like royalty-free music that you can use anywhere. And why shouldn't you? So shout out to Google. Any other last comments on this, folks, or we move on? I think it's time.
It is on Gemini.google, so even just on a regular Pro account, you can just use it.
And with Producer, you can upload other songs. You can upload your kids humming, and then it'll generate full audio from this. So Producer.ai is really, really dope. We showed you this on stage before, and now it's fully by Google, and now it's part of their Lyria thing. What is important that we haven't covered, folks? We don't have that much time. Luma Labs launched a new thinking image generation. I don't think that's super, super interesting. Let's talk about Composer. While Daniel's also here, I want to talk about the Composer drama, the Composer Cursor drama. Yam?
I think first, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to say, guys from Minimax confirmed that we are about to get the weights.
Yes, of Minimax 2.7.
I just want to say, Minimax, leak the weights. We're waiting. Leak the weights. Leak the weights, please.
What are we waiting for?
But thank you very much.
Let me just for folks who are listening and didn't listen last week, Minimax released Minimax 2.7, a jump from their Minimax 2.5, which is a model that people love. Minimax 2.5 was open source, 2.7 was not, but apparently 2.7 was used. 2.5 was used to create 2.7 almost autonomously. One person, like 4 days, and we talked about this like almost entirely auto research type with whatever Kapati posted training, and they showed like really, really like boosting performance. Folks love 2.7. Wolfram reevaluated 2.7, looks good. You want to show Wolfbench real quick for 2.7?
I just wanted to say, in Wolfbench, it is currently the best open source model I evaluated.
It's not open source yet, but very soon open source.
Yes. Exactly what I want to say. It's the best one for vibe testing.
Then it will be the best one.
Absolutely the best. Absolutely the best at this point. It's gonna be the best open source when we get the weights. So click the weights. But yeah, absolutely. Cool. It's absolutely. I don't know. It's the best use. I don't know. We can just report about. We're gonna get the best open source model to date.
Yeah, we're going to talk with Minimax folks to hopefully bring them on the show. They've been on the show before, great folks. So we're hopefully when they released 2.7, we're gonna talk about this. Speaking of 2-point-something,
and then on that topic,
yes, Yam.
Kimi.
Yes.
Let's talk.
This is the transition. Speaking of this, last week we told you here that ThursdAI, the company that kind of like opened up the agentic coding era with Cursor with their fork of VS Code, and now is transitioning into agentic as well, and very well, by the way. Cursor agents are great as a harness. We should probably test it. They have released a version of their model called Composer, the second version of Composer. They showed great examples. They showed that it beats at code, it beats Opus 4.5. I think also like gets very close to Opus 4.6. LDJ, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember exactly the thing. They released it. We talked about this. We on the show last week told you, hey folks, this is not a completely full pre-trained model of theirs. There's no chance. If it was, they would tell us. And they didn't. And they didn't say, hey, we're now Frontier Lab, we're training our own models. They didn't say this. So it's probably a post RL or something based on a bunch of code that they have. And then we were right. Somebody found out that if you go to the API to Cursor, you see Kimi K2 in the URLs of the API or something, or responses. And this created a little bit of a brouhaha on Twitter because people started accusing Cursor of post-training, fine-tuning a model, not acknowledging that they did so. After a while, Lee Robinson, the head developer, and Michael Trull, I think, from Cursor, acknowledged that this is an actual post-training / RL fine-tune of Kimi K2.5. Oh no, there was more to this drama. Kimi folks affiliated with Kimi started posting about this. Daniel, you're saying yes. They're saying, hey, this is our model. Why the fuck are you saying this is your model? And then they all deleted their tweets. All of the Kimi folks deleted those tweets super quick. And then Kimi, the official account, came out and said officially, hey, this is supported. They did everything correctly. So apparently, Cursor trained Composer 2, post-trained and fine-tuned, and RL fine-tuned on top of Kimi K2.5 via Fireworks. And all of the licensing that Kimi requires you to do to disclose. You don't have to pay for it, you don't have to, etc. But you have to disclose. You have to say, hey, our model is based on this. This is a fine tune. If you guys remember Llama 3 required people to do exactly the same. You have to mention Llama 3 in the model name because people came up with like their own models. So apparently they did all the licensing via Fireworks. Everything is kosher. They didn't have to disclose, but they did end up disclosing, writing a full technical report on top of this. This is a drama as far as I remember this. Daniel, you're very close to this area. What are your thoughts? Like just raw thoughts on this whole thing. Would love to hear. And then LDJ, you as well.
Yeah, like obviously it's great that Cursor is using open source models to train. That's obviously very good. But yeah, I guess they probably should have went it a bit better in terms of communication. I don't think so. Like if they, I don't think it was. Like I don't think so. People will like bash them if they say they did like fine tuning or reinforcement learning on an open source model. But I think it was just the way they handled it that was probably inappropriate. And yeah, it was quite a Twitter storm, and everyone was talking about it as well in the news, and it wasn't like an isolated problem. But it was mainly probably the way they handled it that was the problem. But overall, it's good that they trained a open source model, to show that you can like do well, versus closed source models. Yeah, like this is still a very good innovation. So that's good. So it's good. Hopefully, to redeem themselves, maybe they can open source Composer 1 or something. Maybe that could be a way. Yeah.
I just want to say it's
Well,
more
hold on,
than
I think
good. It's
LDJ was
more
waiting.
than
LDJ.
good. Okay, just saying. They reached nearly the dot. I mean, it's very hard to tell, but the dot of Composer 2 is nearly at the same height of GPT 5.4, medium and high.
And Opus 4.6, yeah, they're close.
Yeah, they are showing us like that you can do this with these size of models if you just take the open source and yes, they have their data, we don't have the data. So, but like they're showing us a crazy thing here, and I don't know why people are going after them. That's exactly what open source is for. Like, what do you want from them? Seriously.
All right, LDJ.
In my opinion.
LDJ, what do you want from them?
Yeah, so a couple things. I think a lot of people are kind of downplaying, like, oh, they just fine-tuned or post-trained it. Like, if you look at the details, and assuming Cursor is telling the truth at least, they said that it's actually a 4x compute scale-up over the original KMK 2.5, which is pretty impressive and pretty large-scale continued pre-training as well, not just RL either. And if you look at the score increase as well compared to KMK 2.5, it's pretty massive, especially in like Terminal Bench 2.0. We're looking at, even in KMK 2.5's best harness score, it had around like over 10% lower score than what Composer 2 has. So there's pretty big jumps in coding capabilities that Composer 2 really has, and I think it's people should have a reason here to at least try it out.
Yep. Let me show the while LDJ. Nisa, go ahead.
I just want to know what data they're using. Is it every user's data? Because then that is probably pretty good.
No, just mine.
Just yours, Nissan. Just it's trained just on your data.
I can tell you, mine is not there. Mine is not there. Otherwise, the model will not work. They don't want my code for sure. Yeah.
So Cursor Bench Performance, they have their own benchmark, and on Cursor Bench, this model Composer 2 gets 61%, where GPT 5.4 High gets 63%. This is insane. This is a just absolute like insane numbers. Wolfram, I think you posted their license, and anything else you want to add?
That is one thing. It's not just that they had an open source license and they used it and didn't give credits if they didn't have to, but the license of KMK 2.5 actually says if you have more than $20 million monthly revenue, which I'm not sure if Cursor has, maybe. If you have that, you need to prominently display the name on the user interface. So it is a bit more than just taking an open source project and not giving credit, if it could actually have a license violation attached that way.
So the licensing, as far as everybody confirmed, is going to Fireworks. Fireworks licensed KMK2 for fine-tuning on their platform, which Cursor did with their data. So the licensing thing is handled, and everybody says it did. Fireworks said that did. Kimi came out publicly and said they did like all the licensing. It's not about this is all about how they communicated this and whether or not they should have. And then I think they took the lesson. And so the brouhaha on Twitter that happened within one day, all of course are like changed course, and they released it. Like it was obvious that they misstepped, and hopefully maybe Daniel's right. Hopefully to make this right, they will release Composer 1 as open source for us, or some details. But at least the technical report is very detailed as well. LDJ, you wanted to comment on how big of a difference on their benchmark is this compared to Kimi?
Yeah, on the screen you actually just had open on that chart you were looking at. I was just going to point out if you look all the way to the right, there's also that Kimi K 2.5 score, and there you could see the especially stark difference in the score.
36% on Cursor Bench and 61% on Composer 2 on Cursor Bench. So not really like a fine tune. It's really like very impressive.
Of course, it's going to be a bit biased, though, considering this is literally called Cursor Bench, so it's made by Cursor, right?
Yeah.
But still, I think it's really impressive.
I think that the thing that we need to mention as well, I think the thing that the folks accused them of before is that they only released Cursor Bench evaluations on the previous models. This one they released also like Swift Bench, Multilingual, and Terminal Bench, so we can look at those as well. We don't have a chart, but let's look at those as well. They added Kimi K2 here. So on Swift Bench Multilingual, 73.7% on Composer 2. 73%. Opus 4.6 high gets 75, 77, and then GPT 5.4 gets 76. So very, very close to GPT. Kimi gets 65 on this one. So yeah, they got a very impressive score. I don't know what the slash is. Somebody tell me what the slash is, why there's 2 scores reported. I
think that might be multi-agent mode with Kimi.
Ah, could be. And then on Terminal Bench.
I think.
Yeah,
self-reported?
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, self-reported is the right one.
And so their harness is showing 65%, and 73% is what their what the self-reported thing is. That's very interesting.
That's only like
difference.
0.7% difference then on SWE bench. It's a lot higher on Terminal Bench.
Yeah. You're saying between the Composer 2 fine-tune and the Kimi base, there's only like 0.7% self-reported. Yeah. We can also say that this is self-reported from Cursor as well. So yes, on Terminal Bench, they get 61%, whereas the Kimi K2 self-reported was 50, and then the 47. This is great scores. Yeah.
When I see scores like that, I always think, okay, now I want to know what were your best scores, what were your worst scores, and how many of the benchmark did you solve, I can't see single scores anymore. That's why I made Wolfbench, because
if only there was a benchmark called Wolfbench that helped us to do this. All right, folks, we're almost at time, but I think the thing that I also want to cover, so this is Cursor. We're not going to cover modular releasing Flux.2, but it's really, really dope. Modular, Chris Lattner folks, really great. They started releasing like model. It's not quantization necessarily, it's just like with their Mojo. It's the thing that we wanted. We talked about Mojo for a while, how it improves things. Now they are releasing a Flux 2 on modular that is 5.5x faster than Flux in under 1 second. It's really, really cool to see, and they support the new hardware as well. We don't have time to cover this. There was a huge supply chain attack on LiteLLM, a package, very important package that like everybody uses in our world. So it's very important. Hopefully you guys already know about this, but some harnesses like Hermes, for example, bundled LiteLLM, and some other ones. Daniel, I don't know if you guys bundled LiteLLM in Anslo Studio, or if you had to handle this at all.
So we use NVIDIA's data designer, which did use LiteLLM, but it was a 1.80. So it was like, previous version, but we had to, we saw the thing like, on Hack and Use, we had to we had to like do an update to like just remove it just in case. But yeah, everything is fine now. I think data designer already like, they use their own, I don't think they have LiteLLM as a dependency anymore. To be honest, I kind of feel sorry for them. Like, they're also a startup, and it's kind of like saddening. Like, it's a very big, their trust is totally out of the window. And so this is a big hit to them. But it's also kind of their own fault. Yeah. I was going to say this is kind of their own fault as well. I think they said they didn't do two-factor authentication. Their PyPy token got stolen. They put the token inside of the CI/CD, which is probably not a good idea. So it's kind of like partially their own fault. yeah, but overall, like, kind of feel sad for them a bit.
The thing about the supply chain part of this attack is this is the scary part. And Karpathy went on this, and like we should talk about this. Daniel, we're talking to you. You have an open source package that relies on an open source package that relies on Light LLM, and that was injected with bad code that's very obfuscated to run. It's really, really interesting to see how are we gonna handle agents installing their own packages via Sandbox or whatever, where the third injection, kind of like the injection happens in the third layer of inference. Oh, sorry, not inference, the requirements. So you require one package, it requires another package, it requires another package, and this is the supply chain part. And this is like what's scary, because Light LLM itself, I think, has like 800 million downloads or so. So yeah, luckily this was handled very quick, but still a lot of people probably got the credentials stolen without even knowing. So it's quite scary.
Yeah, go ahead.
I looked really deep into it, and the thing that happened is they actually did have very good security on their app and very good practices. Is that part of the fault was GitHub itself? Just GitHub Actions are like 4 years not updated, and the GitHub Actions allowed their security providers to get hacked first, and then because they themselves did not technically do anything that was wrong or that was a bad practice, it was their security provider that then injected something into their packages and managed to grab everything. So it goes to say, should probably at this point even just like consider developing your own security tools, and even Claude itself, it can make very good scripts for checking for vulnerabilities. And yes, there's like prompt injection attacks too and jailbreak attacks, but it's usually really good at. So just make a test file and just put in the test, run a Claude-B command, and then do a CVE check on all Python, NPM, Rust packages, and both check the code manually and also run the script, and just give me the report in a safe way so it can't get hacked in an immutable way. And as long as you make that part of your test, that will just always run. So it's not that hard to secure. But I do want to say here that I was pretty critical of Light LLM at first, but then I looked at it, and they were actually pretty good with their security. And
still this happens. And still this is like very scary, because this like payload was double base 64 encoded. Really, really hard for a model to understand what the fuck it does until it actually happens and like it decodes. And then the payloads were like very interesting. We're gonna post it in show notes for folks who are interested, a full SNCC, the breakdown of how this happened and why this happened. But we just wanted to bring this to your attention. You should know about this, and then I hopefully repost it. Another thing you should know is that Claude was stupid this week. I'm so sorry, but like I have examples. You guys want to see examples? I've used.
Alex, I believe you. I believe you. Whatever you're going to show, I believe you. You are absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's hard to evaluate. They say they don't quantize. Claude was stupid this week. I don't know if it's still stupid, but it was absolutely stupid. The example that I have is very similar here. This is a very standard prep notes you guys know and love on ThursdAI. This is the TLDR. All of them have a very standard way. There's a picture that we generate with the infographic nano banana. There is a executive summary, and there's 10 factoids, 10 bullet points that I can like say, oh, this is interesting, this is interesting. Very standard, yeah. I've used for the past 2 shows OpenCloud to help me generate the whole thing. I previously used to generate these summaries elsewhere and then copy them over and look. Why, when I asked for 10, I got 4 bullet points? I don't know. I cannot explain this with anything else besides Claude was lazy and stupid. Claude created this this whole thing. 4. There's 4. There's not 10. It says 10 factoids here, and then I only got 4. And this is consistent.
Much more stupid examples.
I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one. Easy. Episodes on ThursdAI website are created with also with the workflow that I have in OpenCode, also via Opus. For the past 7 episodes, it was fine. The last week's episode, it deleted the previous episodes and put this new episodes on top of this instead of the previous episode. Very simple thing. Why the fuck? So I think I think some people reported this. This has to do with the auto thinking mode that they have with the router that they've implemented or something. Once I switched to like a harder thinking mode, for me it reduced it a little bit. But some examples of Claude. Yama, I want your comment, but the thing that I'm leading to is not this. I'm leading to the quotas on Claude Code. But please comment on this, and then we'll move on.
Look, we can all tell when the one prompt goes to the most, the best model ever, and 5 minutes later, it doesn't understand English. Like, all of us can see it. And moreover, the easiest way to show this is just try the same prompt with Sonnet at the same time, and all of a sudden it works. Just charge more. Seriously, just charge more instead of doing all of this.
It was awful.
Just charge. Yeah, just charge
awful.
more. Many people would pay. Seriously, just make a plan that is, I don't know, $500, same rate, same everything, but like you guarantee that's the real opus. I don't think you imagine how many of us would just pay.
I also can't. Wolfram, I'll get to you in a second. I can't remember the number of times that we experienced this collectively, and the number of times that somebody from Claude said, "Hey, we don't nerf models, we don't quantize models, the same models." No, that's bullshit. It's very apparent that this week Claude 4.6, the top model in the world up until 5.4 came out in multiple areas in coding, etc., deleted an episode on the top of all of the episodes in order to place in. It's just like those mistakes don't just happen. Like we all feel this. It's really hard to evaluate as well. Wolfram, go ahead. Then LDJ. Then we have to talk about the Claude Code weekly quotas thing.
There's a great way to see it in other languages because I use it in German a lot. That is where I quickly notice if the German is suddenly getting worse. So I had where commas were missing, and I even had a situation where the umlauts were gone. And I was thinking I had the wrong model or what?
No umlauts?
What's going on? Yeah, the umlauts were gone. And I even asked, why are the umlauts gone? Oh, I imagined you, for some reason, I went to all ASCII mode or something, which is bullshit, of course. But this is a sign of a dumber model, definitely.
Yep.
And this never happened in month of use. And now this week, I got both these things where I thought, why is the grammar wrong? Why is the German is bad, and now I'm missing umlaut. Something is happening, and usually I see that with smaller models, with quantized models, where the German is a small part of the weights anyway, and if you quantize it or use a smaller model, it just doesn't have enough of the information. It needs to be perfect in language, because the big models, they are perfect. They have perfect spelling almost, and that's where I notice it's the first, and I think, what model am I using? That's not my opus.
It's really, it was awful, just awful. LDJ, go ahead.
Yeah, I think maybe there's some middle ground here where I think for the most part, I do believe them when they say they don't quantize the models and for the most part not trying to nerf them intentionally, because there has been at least one instance in the past I remember where they confirmed they recognized in their inference stack some bugs that they were changing parts of their inference stack and deploying things. And as we can obviously see, just overall, just the amount of features they're shipping, I imagine they're also making a large amount of changes to just their overall stack using Claude Code to things like their inference stack and their server management. And so I can see how this might genuinely just be a result of a lot of vibe-coded inference infra, you know?
Oh, wow. LDJ, shots fired towards Anthropic. Vibe-coded inference infra. I love this. How could this be a result of a vibe-coded inference infra? We know that the folks at Anthropic are using Claude for everything. Imagine the overall Anthropic capability if this happens within Anthropic before they notice and like fix this. Like all of the pull requests become stupid. I really need that infographic from the beginning again to show folks like what we're talking about, where slop gets a little bit into your code base and then we need to talk about this. But this is not what I want to talk about. I'll talk about something else that could be a vibe-coded inference stack also. This week, many people, I started seeing many people, folks, when I say many people, I mean many people, across Reddit, Twitter, started noticing that their quotas for the maxed account on Anthropic that costs like $200 a month, 20x usage, is getting hammered with simple questions. Is ridiculous. I posted on X and I got over 500 people saying, yes, this happened to me as well. Zero response from Anthropic. Anthropic does not care to respond to us, which is sad because, like, folks, we don't want to dunk on Anthropic here. We want this to fucking work. We want to tell you about the problem. Previous thing that LDJ mentioned with the inference thing, it took 3 weeks for them to acknowledge that what people are seeing. It was really, really annoying. We talked about this twice on the show until they acknowledged. And now the same thing is happening again with quotas for Cloud Code, where people are hitting 100% of their sessions after 2 or 3 queries.
Alex, this happened on January this year.
Yep.
Like a month ago, exactly this.
Yep.
Everyone felt that their quotas are burning immediately. And and it took Anthropic, I think, 3-4 weeks to say something along the lines of release a statement that we had some bug. We reset the quotas at the moment. pull an OpenAI codex team. Resetting the quotas. All I want to say is that that's nice, but like many of us spent extra tokens. Just bought extra tokens to continue working, and it did cost many people a lot of money.
I will say
it
didn't happen
I don't
to
think
me.
That's a small thing.
It's not a small thing. It's like you can sue them with consumer reports, whatever, because you're paying for this thing, and essentially they get the benefit of this bug because then the extra toggle, if it's turned on, you actually pay for like extra usage. And so when your quota like suddenly works, I want to show this on the stage. There's somebody replied to me in comments, and I asked, over 500 people said this happens to me exactly the same, because everybody wants camaraderie on this issue. This is a fully empty session when it started at 4:06, and at 4:11 this session has full use with 5 minutes of use. No matter how many subagents you use, it shouldn't get to like full session, overblown session. No response from Anthropic. Really, really sad. I tagged everyone as much as I could. None of them like follow ThursdAI. None of them. We have an open invitation to Anthropic to join ThursdAI to talk about like whatever things. They go on podcasts that glaze them. Unfortunately, ThursdAI, we don't glaze. We try to tell you, like, I'm not even dunking on Anthropic. I don't care about dunking. I want this to be fixed for the people. And when my whole feed is full of folks that saying, hey, why the fuck 3 questions ended my quota on this $200 a month tier, it's absolutely ridiculous. Over 500 people replied to me. Reddit has folks saying, hey, I just said hey, and I am out of quota. This is obviously a bug. Now, the thing that's even more obvious a bug is that I don't have this. My personal experience is not like this. Like, I had open call running 24/7. I barely hit quota. It's just like that difference is insane. Folks are saying that maybe this is the 1 million token context opus that's in charge of this. Some folks are saying that maybe it's like the extra high thinking. It's unclear. Potentially, my feed showed me today that potentially this was solved for some folks. So I don't know. Maybe they solved it behind the scenes without acknowledging. But when we see an acknowledgement, we'll tell you. But for now, if you're seeing your quotas and you're seeing Claude stupid, we're also seeing the same things. And I just wanted to bring this to your attention.
It's very hard to keep track of these things because you don't notice if the model degrades with proof. You just have the anecdotes we tell each other, and then it's very hard to prove actually that something is wrong. I used to think you just have to run benchmarks every day, but when I did the Anthropic benchmarks, I know how expensive that is.
Yeah.
So that even that isn't an option. So we need some solutions here.
The solution is they need to run the benchmarks and tell us transparently, like status.whatever website.something, where you see the actual status, which we have for Anthropic, and it was bad the whole week. Anthropic, like Claude went down like 3 times, which is fine. Infrastructure, vibe coded, blah, blah, blah. We all understand. Yeah. I wish that the status like this would have them running evals continuously and show me from like day to day on a statistically significant basis if Claude is stupid today or not. Like, I really want this. LDJ, Daniel, go ahead and then LDJ.
Yeah, the marginlab.ai one, like, they run Codex and Claude Code every single day on SweBench, like a small little random subset.
Yeah.
Oh wait, did I post? I'll post a link maybe, but
that's
pretty good.
Show MarginLab. Yeah, we showed this last week and we said,
oh yeah, that one.
And then people dunked on this and said that they're not running enough. They're doing a very small subset.
It's a random sample.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good indication, I think. Like, it's a good vibe, like, check. Like, if you actually, actually, the thing that's interesting, if you scroll down to the page, the most interesting part is the, like, not actually the accuracy, but if you keep going down, like all the way, keep going, like input tokens and output tokens. So this is actually an interesting statistic. So if you go up a bit, wait, it's a bit up over here, like the API cost, like this one, input tokens. So it seems like Anthropic is trying to reduce their cost for everything. So it seems like the benchmark, is getting cheaper to run. And so maybe this is correlated with some, dumber, like, people think the model's getting dumber. And also, like, they did some tricks, like, they removed, like, I think a few days ago, like plan mode, you can remove the context. They actually deleted that, it seems. You have to enable it in the config file. And yes, it's the 1 million model. It's not the, the smaller model. So maybe all of these things combined together, maybe that's why, like, people are experiencing, like, the model's getting dumber. Small little things are combining together. I always follow that one, the margin
labs. We're going to post this in the show notes. LDJ, what do you want to add to this conversation? Then I think it's time for us to kind of wrap up. Maybe one more thing that we need to mention. Oh yeah, there's one huge thing that we need to mention. But yeah, LDJ, go ahead.
So on this note, I find it funny when you mentioned that maybe they fixed the issue without acknowledging it. I think we're at a point now where it might even be a layer deeper than that, where maybe Claude Code internally fixed the issue without acknowledging it to the humans that the issue even existed, right? And so, it's just a lot of funny development.
Maybe they don't know how it was fixed, you're saying, and then Claude Code fixed it for them. Lovely times we live in. Nistan, thank you so much for joining. Folks, we're about to wrap up. The last thing that I want to talk about is SORA. RIP SORA from OpenAI. OpenAI, last week we told you, has decided to focus and to stop going on side quests, famously seeing how well Anthropic is doing in the world of productivity, Cloud Code, etc., and decided to go and fight. The fight they're doing is great. Codex is great. GPT 5.4 is a great model. Every time Codex had issues like this, like we talked about today, they acknowledged, fixed, and gave everybody a reset of the tier. And this happened 5 or 6 times. Shout out Thibaut. So we all know. So Codex is like really, really moving towards this, like, let's take over whatever Cloud Code is, because like they were a leader in category and suddenly Anthropic kind of like leapfrogged them on this like thing. In order to win in this, they need more GPUs and they need to focus and send more focus in the company on specific things. And OpenAI famously had a bunch of side quests. SORA was definitely one. OpenAI tried to do everything, but the stated goal of OpenAI is, hey, AGI, ASI. This is the stated goal. SORA does not seem like it's moving us to the goal at all. SORA, the iOS app that looks like TikTok, definitely does not seem like the sloppy videos move us towards the ASI goal. And so OpenAI decided to axe SORA, the app, the API, and the video capabilities. It looks like the video research team is still going to continue, but I guess just cannot imagine how many GPUs the SORA app took. And they will free up for inference and for academic efforts to give out models. In the same time that Sam Altman talked about cutting SORA out of the product line, they also mentioned that a new model that can significantly change the shape of the economics in the world is also coming very soon from OpenAI. So we'll see about what that model is. But with as much fun as I had with SORA and the generating myself in different videos, I'm okay with that. Like if SORA going away means much better Codex, and then Codex can help me with a bunch of other stuff, I'm okay with this. I just wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. I think the narrative around people who don't like AI was that, haha, you see AI slop videos is bullshit, that's why they're cutting the product. That's not why, folks. GPUs are fucking expensive, that's why. This is the only reason they're cutting SORA, is the GPU is expensive. You know how many OpenAI accounts SORA got them? Millions of new people got into the OpenAI ecosystem via SORA. So this is not why. They're not cutting this because your personal feelings about AI slop are offended, and you hate AI artists. They're cutting this because GPUs are needed and video generation is difficult. I think Well, I had something else to. Oh, yeah. Two more things. LDJ, go ahead, and two more things, and we need to go. We can keep talking all day. There's like a bunch of stuff happening, but yeah. LDJ, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a couple of other pieces of information connected to this. So apparently, it was reported that the SORA team has also been shifted to now refocus on actual like long horizon world simulation to purpose like robotics and robotics training and future architectures, which apparently was actually the original purpose of the SORA project to begin with. And then the product organization was renamed now to AGI Deployment. And within internal meetings amongst this past 48 hours as well, it was reported that apparently they're planning on having ChatGPT desktop app, Codex, and the OpenAI browser
Atlas.
merge into one super app.
Yeah.
So that's basically the news reported on it.
And Atlas as a standalone browser is probably going to go away also. We'll see. Okay. I think the last thing that we want to end on is Jensen. I think it's a good way to pause the show on. I'm just gonna play the clip. I think this is what we need here, and then we're gonna go. But Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, legendary CEO of NVIDIA, I should say, went on. I think I have this in my media thing. Went on Lex Friedman Pod, and we caught a little short piece of this, and hopefully you guys can see this and hear.
I think accurately
Let's go.
Question. I think accurately that the AGI timeline question rests on your definition of AGI. So let me ask you about possible timelines here. This ridiculous definition perhaps of what AGI is, but an AI system that's able to essentially do your job. Start, grow, and run a successful technology company that's worth
a good one or a one.
No, it has to be worth more than $1 billion, more than $1 billion. So, you know how hard it is to do all of those components. So how far are we away from that? So we're talking about OpenClaw that does all the incredibly complex stuff that are required to first of all innovate, to find customers, to sell to them, to manage to build a team of some agents, some humans, all that kind of stuff. Is this 5, 10, 15, 20 years away?
I think it's now. I think we've achieved AGI.
You think you can have a company run?
I'll play this again. I want to play this again. Hold on.
20 years away.
AGI has been achieved internally.
You think you can have a company run by an AI system like this?
Possible.
Yeah, let me play this so that neither me or you will talk over Jensen. I want the sound clip for the podcast again.
To find customers, to sell to them, to manage to build a team of some agents, some humans, all that kind of stuff. Is this 5, 10, 15, 20 years away?
I think it's now. I think we've achieved AGI.
You think you can have a company run by an AI system like this?
Possible.
Folks, AGI, according to Jensen,
achieved internally.
AGI has been achieved. It's incredible news.
I just want to say we have some more gems from this very same podcast. OpenClaw is the iPhone of tokens. I just want to say we also got that.
It's a great podcast. Definitely about like it feels good for us folks who are chasing that feeling of acceleration. LDJ, go ahead and then we'll finish up. We have to.
Yeah. Well, first, I appreciate the fact that you posted like the full beginning context there, because a lot of people are reposting that, and I think it is kind of important that Lex was saying this specific definition of AGI, being able to run $1 billion company, but also a little bit later in that conversation in the podcast, then the conversation got around to Jensen's exact job of running NVIDIA, of a literal multi-trillion-dollar company, and he said it's definitely not there yet for like a multi-trillion-dollar company. So I think it's interesting. At least he believes we're like within that, somewhere in between. But I guess I don't know. We'll see how long it takes for him to believe that it could go all the way.
I wanted to finish, but now I have to give you the other side of this super quick. Okay, I wanted to finish on this, But now I'm looking at my notes, and there's one thing that we haven't covered. Yesterday, Yam, you can take off the glasses. Because yesterday, Francois Cholet and some other folks, and Greg, our friend here, launched ArcAGI-3. This is a benchmark that they launched at the first one to say, hey, AGI will be here when this is done. It was obsoleted within 3 years, and then there is the second version, and now there is the third version. This benchmark is super cool. This is a bunch of games. I'm going to show you these games. We're going to play this game. We'll see if I can able to play this game that they've curated. And the third variation of ArcAGI, humans get 100% of game completion, and AI gets under 1%. I want to highlight how much of a difference is. Every other Frontier Math, when it launched, was super expensive, very hard math questions. Launched like the models were like 4% or 5% back then. This is under 1%. The AIs, the top AIs are right now, the visual ones, they get under 1%. It's very interesting to see how quick this will get obsoleted. Lovely executive summary from my dumb Opus. Nothing is here, so I'm just going to click. It's horrible. I need ArcAGI for my notes. So we're going to play the ArcAGI-3, and then we'll show you. This is the distribution. Humans get 100%. No other labs get anything else. These are fairly complex, like visual games like this, that supposedly once you play once, you as a human, you understand. And I think it's pretty cool. LDJ, I want you to talk while I play this game.
Okay. Yeah, so to be clear, first, I do like the work that ArcPrize organization has been doing, and I like the fact that ArcAGI-3 exists. I feel like they are being a bit disingenuous, though, with their title of humans get 100%, because if you actually look at their technical report and the details of that, what they really mean is for each game, they were able to find at least 2 humans that were able to solve it. But in terms of the actual average or median human score, which I think is more what people are curious about, that seems to be more like each game, they said it had to pass a bar for being easier for humans in order to get into the final set of games. And their definition of easy to pass for humans is that in a group of 10 people, just at least 2 people out of that 10 had to solve the game. So some people are doing some estimates based on the data that it's maybe around like closer to like 50 or 60% average score here for humans. For ArcAGI-2, we know some tests showed that it was on average around 55% or 50% score that the average person got. So yeah, I think still a big caveat there, but it is definitely true that the average human seems to be far above the models at least.
So this is the game that we're showing for folks who are just listening. It's they actually put this in like a gaming console like type UI. You're a cube and you have to like figure out what the game rules are while you're playing the game. And you play it once and you don't succeed and you play it again. This is kind of the same instructions they also gave. Yes, there's some commentary about like how and how many humans like, yeah, but still like it's very apparent that like I'm able to understand what the fuck this game wants from me. I'm able to understand that, hey, I'm this cube. There's a goal here. The goal setting is very interesting. There's like this goal, and I cannot go into the goal area without like changing my thing at the bottom here. This is all the stuff here. They had game designers do this. All of the stuff here, like, is the models are really hard for the models to understand. Basically, they want generality here, and I'm able to play this game. These games are kind of fun. It's very like interesting to see how you as a human can like understand them without the AI. The thing that I'm missing the most is they're not saying which levels of humans. Game pros, 5-year-old kids, there's a difference in us as well. And so it's like 100% humans. I would love to know if my kids can solve this, for example, if this like, if GPT-4 5.4 is the level of a 5-year-old in ArcAGI or a level of 10-year-old or 15-year-old, etc. So the 1%, the 100% the score doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, everybody took off their acceleration glasses super quick because still, it's very impressive to have a benchmark where 1% of games are being able to solved by AI. This is great for everyone, I think. Folks, I think it's time for us. It's been 2.5 hours. Crazy show. Daniel, thank you so much for joining and being a co-host and sitting with us here. LDJ Nistan was here before. Wolf from Ravenwolf, Jan Pelik. Folks, this is ThursdAI. A lot has happened this week. I think the coolest thing is the Gemini Live thing. Honestly, if you missed that part, please go back. The show is getting turned into a a podcast and a newsletter on a weekly basis. We love bringing this news to you. We love your audience participation. Thank you so much for joining. This is always fun for us to do. I will say in 2 weeks, we're going to be in London, in Europe, in the AI Engine Europe, covering things from there. Apparently, Peter Steinberger is going to be there, Mario Zechner from Pi, and a bunch of other folks, where I'm going to interview a bunch of folks. We're going to do a live show right from there as well. Maybe we're going to interview folks on the floor. It's going to be super exciting. So if you're in London at the AI Engine Europe, please come to us and come say hi and give us a high five. If you missed any part of the show, please go to ThursdAI.news, ThursdAI.news, that's one word, .news, the second word, and then download and subscribe everywhere. Give us 5 stars everywhere that you get this podcast. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye, everyone.